But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
I don't know if it was a rocket or whatever, but it cleared to be fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please!
Well, let it happen. That's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1, 0.
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
All right, good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. This is the show where we get together Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. And what do? That's right. We talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. And you know what they are. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. We are live as usual, doing our thing, and also taking your phone calls. If you want to be part of the show tonight, give us a call at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also join the Discord at troubledminds.org. That's the official website. And that's what's going on. That's the deal here. That's what we do, and it's all about a conversation. Again, you know, many of these things are radio shows or this or that or the other thing. We're less of all that, more of just a conversation between myself and between you. If you can listen. If you're listening anywhere out there and you can hear me right now, once again, it is Wednesday night, and we're talking about all kinds of stuff, and that's what this is about. Because you know you can tune into a political talk show, right, daily, every damn day on every damn channel, and what are they talking about? 24 hours a day, politics, brainwash, right? Once again, we're not allowed to think outside of that lefty-righty paradigm, and so I think it's unacceptable. I think it's one of those situations where we can do better than that for ourselves. And again, right, the powers that be, as the establishment moves to protect itself and run out folks like us that just want to say, hey, hold on, you know, we got the left saying this, we got the right saying that. What about this other thing? And they both reject it outright because it's not part of their kabuki theater, their professional wrestling. as they show up and act like they hate each other, and then go have dinner together after their sessions of Congress, right? That's what this is all about. But that's what that is all about. This show is all about the opposite of that. I think that it doesn't matter your political lean. It doesn't matter if you like politics at all. We don't really do a lot of that. And I think at the end of it, it's okay to kind of mix it up and talk about things that people don't really touch too much. And that's what's going on. So yeah, as part of that, we've been kind of just expanding the reach on all the platforms as we've always done. And we used to stream on Facebook. We don't anymore because, well, they're censoring us. They're literally shutting down, and I've said this before, the words we say and the thoughts we think. They're censoring that stuff. And again, right, because why? Because we're not terrorists. I'm not a terrorist. This is not about any of that stuff. This is not about overthrowing anything. It doesn't matter, though, because you see, if the conversation doesn't fit into a very thin strip of allowed discourse, then what happens is you become labeled a nuisance. You become, again, depending on how they stretch the definition, a terrorist. And I'm not about that. I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's necessary to go there. And one more time, division politics. It's gross. It's disgusting. And here we are, unfortunately, trying to consider other things besides that. So that's what the show's really about. It's about that and the many other things. Because, like I said, imagine tuning into the same show every day and they talk about the same damn thing every day. Do you really come back? I don't. I'm just like, oh, this again. Infamously, Sean Hannity bleated on like a sheep for like 2.5 or 3 years about the Russia collusion hoax. You guys remember that? Anybody ever hear that? I was driving at the time and for a job, and so I would turn on the radio every day, and guess what? Sean Hannity. Russia collusion, the hoax, the FISA courts, the Russia collusion. Right, it was the end of the world. It was the end of the world. But the point is that kind of what I always say on the news show we do is that's repetition. And it is the most basic form of brainwashing. And that's why they do it. They talk about the same thing every single day so that their talking points get embedded in your skull. And then once somebody lashes out from the other side of the aisle or what have you, you instantly jump to the Sean Hannity talking point or the Don Lemon talking point. And that's why they do this, right? You guys know. There's no secret here. There's no nefarious trick other than they're trying to trick us. You see what I did there? That's the nefarious trick. They're trying to trick us. And okay. That's what the show's about. And like I said, we're streaming on Rockfin, we're streaming on DLive, YouTube, and Periscope. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And if you want to be part of the show, once again, 702-957-1037. Phone number is up. And there you go, right there on the stream. You can't miss it. TroubledMinds.org has all the things. It's got the podcast feed. It's got all the social media links. It's got the phone number right on top. And it's got a link to the Discord. Also, if please help support the Fringe as well. Go to the fringe.fm/chat. That will give you a direct invite to their Discord, and also download the Fringe FM app on iTunes and of course the Android store. And yeah, there you go. There's all the things. There's all the plugs. There's all the good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds. So as you know, right, I kind of go through the news cycles and look at all this stuff and consider all the things because I think not enough people do. So the thing with that is, right, is that considering all this, there's a lot to talk about, as you know, right, And, yeah, there you go. See, Daggerspell says, love Hannity. That's fine. But point being, right, you tune in every day, and I'm not kidding. I'm not even exaggerating. It was like 2 years straight or 3 years straight of this same thing every day on the show. I was just like, okay, I mean, surely there's other things happening in the world, right? So anyway, let's see. We had a call coming in. We'll take that in just a sec when they call back. Okay, so what's up? I see you guys in the chat. We'll shout you out at the bottom of the hour when we take some commercial time. Okay, so as you know me, I'm always looking into the news cycles. I'm looking into everything, paying close attention, trying to figure it out. And I think, like I always say, I don't think it's necessary to really say, I got the answer, right? I think it's more important to say, well, check this out. This is a likely thing that's happening, right? And if you consider those possibilities as exactly that, being just possibilities, I think you start to maybe paint a larger picture of some of the things that they're doing in the news cycles with propaganda and all the rest of this stuff on how they trick us, on how they, flash the shiny object and do all the things that kind of keep us from getting along with each other, right? And I think that's really what this is all about. It's not about it's just not about division. Like I said, I say this and I mean this. It doesn't really matter. We got full on I don't know. I'm not going to call anybody out, but we have people that listen to the show and hang out with us after the show that are all over the political spectrum, far right, far left, everywhere in between, and apolitical even. It doesn't even matter. Like I said, that stuff is so kind of I don't know, old. Should be retired. I don't know. Anyway, so that's what this is about. So as I'm watching these news cycles, right, I saw this article today, and I was like, nah, come on, really? We haven't ever talked about this, and I think it's one of the ones that we should have. We should have talked about this probably a long time ago, because this is one of those important things that's happening in the world today. That, once again, if you turn on the mainstream media, what are they going to be talking about? Definitely not this. Definitely not this. All right, so I saw this from, here we go, I'm linking it in the chats. This is from discovermagazine.com, and here you go. Links are going in the chat. And as always, you guys know me. I'm going to give you my sources, and you can follow along and try and find out what's going on here along with myself. But I found this article, and it's from yesterday. And it reads this. The headline is this: when North goes south, is Earth's magnetic field flipping? And like I said, this is probably one we should have talked about more. We never have. We never really touched this because, one, it's a little bit over my head, the way this stuff actually works, because it's, electromagnetism and the magnetic field and the iron core of the Earth and all this other stuff. It's complicated, right? It's complicated. I'm not a scientist, as you know, and I don't know a ton about these sort of like specific niche sciences, let's say. All that aside, it seems strange to me that we have this happening, and it's not just happening. It doesn't seem to be kind of like it begins and then it kind of backtracks on itself. It seems like the actual magnetic field is changing and moving in a major way every single year, and it's growing each year. And so that suggests, yes, that's right, it suggests that possibly the magnetic field is in the process of actually flipping from the north to the south. And right, so that's what's on my mind tonight, because we have never talked about this, and I think it's important, because if this happens, if this, like, again, right, I'm not a doom preacher. I'm not saying this is doomsday. I'm not saying it's anywhere close. All right, you guys got to understand that about me. I'm not that guy. However, we would be remiss if we don't actually keep an eye on things that may seem troubling, right? A la a troubled mind sort of situation. I think this is what we got here. So this is straight from the article, again, from discovermagazine.com, and it goes a little something like this. Something odd is happening to Earth's magnetic field. Over the last 200 years, it's been slowly weakening and shifting its magnetic north pole from the Canadian Arctic toward Siberia. And of course, the magnetic North Pole is different from true north, so the magnetic North Pole is where the compass points, not to be confused with the geographic North Pole, which is exactly just, boom, straight up the top of the planet, bottom of the planet, Antarctica, right, South Pole. So there's two. There are two. There are, right, magnetic North Pole, regular, direct North Pole, all right? What's shifting now is the magnetic North Pole. That's changing. And so, as we know, in some of the weirdness with the history of the planet, it's happened a lot. So this is not like an unprecedented thing. There just seems to be some confusion in science, because as far as we're aware, in the history of mankind, modern mankind, this has not happened. And so we don't really know exactly what the implications are here, and especially in a technological society. And that's some of the weirdness about this. That's some of the wink, wink, troubled minds type, dangerous type stuff that could be, let's just say problematic. Let's say problematic. Like I said, I don't know. Again, I'm not the guy saying the end is nigh. I'm just not that guy. You don't have to buy meteor juice or strap up your electromagnetic suit or anything like that, or even a tinfoil hat. We joke about that, but you don't have to do any of that, as far as I'm aware. Because, well, that's the good news. What's the bad news? Okay, here we go. However, that slow shift has quickened, right? So over 200 years, it's been moving. But recently, reaching speeds upwards of 30 miles per year. That's how much this is actually shifting from the old region of the magnetic North Pole, again, through Siberia, and moving, of course, further away. And so what does that mean? At some point, there'll be a correction and it'll snap back, Or is this going to continue just migrating and accelerating the way the actual magnetic field changes? Is it going to flip? At some point, is it going to just like snap your fingers and flip upside down? And that's where the confusion is. Some scientists believe that's the case, that it's kind of like a stretching point, and eventually it'll just, as it continues to weaken, it'll snap and it'll flip, like bam, snap your fingers and everything just goes upside down, right? Or some scientists suggest that it's not. It's actually much slower than that. It's happening just like we see it, and it may take 10,000 years for it to actually flip, sort of thing, right? So I don't know. Like I said, it depends, as always, right? It depends on who you ask. It always depends on who you ask. But so anyway, this is the problematic thing that was kind of on my mind tonight and yesterday as I found this article yesterday, actually. And I was like, okay, that's what we're talking about, because, like I said, we've never talked about it on this show, never. So anyway, let's read a little bit more of this, just to kind of catch ourselves in a where we're headed tonight. And again, right? So we like to think of these things in non-linear ways, right? Is the magnetic field flipping or changing or moving or weakening and all these things? Is it part of that natural cycle? That's the first question on my mind tonight. Is it part of that natural cycle? And if it is or isn't, then what do you think? Is it going to be a fast flip, or is it going to be a slow flip? Is it going to be such a slow change that it's kind of imperceptible in our lives, and we don't have to worry about it? Or is this, I hate to say it, but the doomsday, right? Like I said, I'm not that guy, but we can entertain the thought, can we not? So that's what's on my mind, and so those are the first couple questions. But then there's some other strange things with this, right? Regarding maybe ley lines, regarding maybe just sort of the way that the electromagnetic field is locked into place. Does it have something to do with even with like the pyramids? People have suggested the Great Pyramids at Giza, the Giza Plateau. So that's what I mean. I think we got some weirdness there with it's so sort of misunderstood by science, meaning that they don't know exactly what makes this happen. And that's where this is part of the enigma of the actual magnetic field changing and moving and all of these things. Is it going to correct back to its original position eventually, or is this thing going to keep trucking off the rails and flip north to south? So anyway, here we go. Straight from the article here from, again, Discover Magazine. By the way, this is live. If you got theories on this, if you know more about this than I do, odds are you probably do. I'd love to hear from you. That's part of it. Like I said, it's a two-way conversation, and, well, except we have, like, lots of people listening, so it becomes more than a two-way conversation. So if you want to be part of the show tonight, at any point, just give us a call. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can join the show at troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link and hop on in here, and we'll put you on the show. All right, so back to this. Okay, so it goes like this. Earth's magnetic field is generated by the convection of molten iron in the planet's core, around 1,800 miles beneath our feet. This superheated liquid generates electric currents that in turn produce electromagnetic fields. All right, while the processes that drive pole reversal are comparatively less understood, computer simulations of planetary dynamics show that the reversals arise spontaneously. This is supported by the observation of the sun's magnetic field, which reverses approximately every 11 years. And so that's some of the strangeness here, right? That's some of what's going on, and why I'm actually a little flabbergasted that we never have talked about this yet, because it is. I think I have to say, is it concerning? I think that's probably a proper word here. It's concerning that this may be the case, but again, right? So some of the theories, again, back to some of the doomsday theories, right? Is this a situation where in the old days, let's say this happened. I think they say it happened 780,000 years ago. All right. So let's say even that was speculatively, let's say Atlantis type, early civilization type stuff. That's a long ass time ago, 780,000 years. So let's say there was no technological anything on the planet, and this sucker flipped. This magnetic field completely flipped. All right. Well, if there's nothing technological, the consequences of this might be less dire. But now we live in this technological world where we have satellites, we have GPS systems, we have banks that run on these satellites, we have all kinds of things that if this thing flips they're talking like worldwide EMP style, right? Like it'll throw everything off and break all the electronics, and well, let's say not all of them, because all of them is a big word. It'll break many of our electronic systems and throw us back into a proverbial Stone Age. And this is the type of stuff, right? If that doesn't trouble your mind, I don't know what will. I don't know what will. Okay, so we're still talking about this. We're still trucking, keeping on, doing our thing, and taking your phone calls, 702-957-1037. We have a phone call, so let's go to this individual. Welcome to the show. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Treeland, Wisconsin.
Okay, you said Karen, Wisconsin?
Treeland T.
Okay, I missed that, but go right ahead. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah. So there are celestial objects that eclipse our sun every day that NASA has been cloaking. Would that have something to do with what's happening?
Well, I wouldn't put anything past it. It's possible, right? And so I think when you look at things like this and at a quote natural process of the Earth, and there's evidence to suggest this has happened quite often. Maybe it is possible that there's some sort of secret program that knows it's happening and is trying to keep it upright, right, from changing. Who knows? So I'm definitely willing to accept the premise that some of that stuff may be happening. That there's kind of secret programs maybe trying to either manipulate this or maybe make it happen faster or stop it from happening. So what do you think exactly they're cloaking in the in the atmosphere here?
3, possibly 4 celestial objects that can be seen on the FAA weather cams. I check them daily. Deborah Tavares shows you clearly. She has quite the talent. And I've been looking at them for a few years now. At first, there was only a striped one that rotates and a red cratered one that also rotates. And NASA's been covering them up with the concealment equipment.
Interesting.
Oh, I know I sound crazy, don't I?
No, you don't. I'm actually familiar with Deborah Tavares, and I think she's fantastic. Unfortunately, I just don't have enough time to listen to everybody I'd love to listen to. But yeah, I've heard her before, and she seems spot on. I heard her talking about PG&E in California and all kinds of like really crazy stuff, the Rothschilds and all that. Yeah. So what do you think they are? And I promise you don't sound crazy. What do you think these things are? What are they concealing?
Well, I don't know if they're planets or not. They resemble planets. But with the craziness going on and with CERN, I really honestly couldn't tell you. But I watch every day. I look at the cams and I screenshot a lot of it because it's insane that they are there and I can see them. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if that maybe has something to do with the increase in volcanic activity and the shifting. And so I just thought I would call and bring that to light. Maybe somebody may know something more than I do.
I appreciate that. I have not seen it. I will actually kind of try and look into that as we go tonight because it's something I didn't find. But like I said, some of the stuff isn't very well publicized. And as you know, when things are problematic, they tend to bury them on the internet so you can't find them easily. So I appreciate the call. One more time.
Correct.
What was your first name, just so I can get this right?
Treeland T.
I still don't get it. Tree Limb Key, is that right?
Tree. Yes.
Okay.
Trelynn.
Tree Limb Key. Well, welcome to the show. Thank you for calling tonight. That's what it says right in the call screen. I just thought there was no way that was a real name. I thought you were messing with me. I appreciate it. Thank
That's
you.
my channel name.
Right on. Tree Limb Key. Thank you so much for the call tonight. I appreciate it, and we will look into this as we continue. Have a great night.
Right.
Thanks for calling. There you go. Simple as that, guys. You want to be part of the show? I don't know the answers here, but see, there's some things. Are there things being considered or not? Are there things being cloaked in the atmosphere? I have no idea. If anybody knows anything about this, let's talk about it tonight because, well, as you know, this is not the answer show. This is the question show. And is it possible, let's add that to the list, that there's some sort of secret program, maybe NASA or somebody else, the weather institutions, as it were, trying to keep us from seeing what's actually happening out there. And, of course, regarding pole shift, regarding this enigma of sorts. So if you guys know anything about this, love to hear from you tonight. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds after the break. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope. And tonight, and the Fringe FM, sorry, we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And tonight, I always try and get 4 things when we start again. And tonight, we're talking about the pole shift. What's going on with this? Is this something we should be worried about? Do you think it's being manipulated by the powers that be? Or do you think we're marching toward the inevitable? That's the question on my mind tonight. If you want to be part of the show, we're taking your phone calls. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We had a fantastic call from Treelin T to start us off. Thank you. I'm glad I finally got the name properly because, well, all I had to do was read the chat. I'm a knucklehead. Well, you can't win them all, can you? Thank you, Treelin. That was a fantastic call to start us off. And so it's actually what was on my mind a little bit as part of the conspiracy of this. Right, in the conspiratorial mindset, do you think that it's possible there is something, people have mentioned maybe CERN or HARP or things like this, manipulating the Earth's magnetic field for whatever reason? And I think that's part of the weirdness of this is you can't really say, at least myself, I can't really pin down exactly what's happening here because even the scientists, right, the wink, wink, the scientists that know everything, by the way, just ask the news media. The science knows all, well, until they don't. And then in this case, they're still trying to figure out what we're looking at as far as pole shift is concerned. Is it going to be like a snap your fingers sort of situation where it finally presses so hard and weakens so much that bam, there it goes, and it shifts like in an instant? Or is it going to be something that happens over 10 or 20,000 years, just kind of slowly 30, 50 miles at a time sort of thing? So we're kind of in unprecedented times in many different ways. But in this particular case, like I said, it's strange that this has supposedly happened many times over the course of Earth's history, this pole shift type stuff, the electromagnetic field of the Earth swapping from north to south. And the implications, like I said, could be dire only in the sense that we are now a technological civilization, right? On the Kardashev scale, well, it's said that we are, like a 0.85 civilization or something, right? Like we're very close to harnessing the power of the entire Earth. And if that's the case, you got to think about it in those terms. Is it possible we're able to harness the power of the electromagnetic field of the Earth and manipulate it and do those things? And that's the question. And that's why that call from Treeland is so great here, because we're not just dealing with possible, natural cycles happening with the Earth. This could be manipulated by man, by technology. And that's where we start to get a little bit, it starts to get uneasy, this conversation, in my opinion, because that means if that's possible, who's doing this type of stuff, right? And yeah, so that's what this is about. And as you know, we're taking your phone calls. There's more in this article. We're going to get to this in the article. And there's more stuff I've pulled up, of course. Like I said, is there something out there that's maybe holding the electromagnetic field in place? And is that weakening? Is it a technological thing? Is it, like some have suggested, like I said, the Great Pyramids? Other things, right? Some of this ley line sort of grid that's on the Earth. Is it keeping hold of it, and then for some reason it's loosening? It's actually slipping, but why? That's the question. What's going on, guys? How you doing? I see everybody in the chat. Thanks for being here. And yeah, so that's what's on my mind. And I don't know, like, as you know me, I don't know the answers to these questions. And as you know about this show, this is not the answer show. It's the question show. So we're going to keep on trucking and talking about this. But like I said, I'm relying on you guys tonight because I'm sure many of you know more about this than I do. And are there things being concealed in the atmosphere that are maybe controlling this, maybe actually coaxing the change right now? That's another whole thing right there. There's some weird stuff. Okay, so that's what's on my mind tonight, and let's go right back to this article. Let's go back to the well here, where it kind of piqued my attention. And like I said, oddly enough, 3.5 years now on this show, and we have not ever talked about pole shift. Well, that it tells you probably a lot, because I don't know a lot about it. And that's why, probably why I've dodged it. But I'm like, hey, well, why not? I've got you guys. So 702-957-1037. All right, let's go. So this is from, it says, our own magnetic field. This is straight from the discovermagazine.com article. I've already linked it in the chat. And let's see. All right. Okay. Earth's magnetic field is generated. We already read that. Our own magnetic field came into existence at least 4 billion years ago, and Earth's magnetic poles have reversed many times since then. Over the last 2.6 million years alone, the magnetic field switched 10 times. And because the most recent occurred a whopping 780,000 years ago, some scientists believe we are overdue for another. But reversals are not predictable and are certainly not periodic. So, so they can't put them on an actual timeline. They just have these rough estimates of when they think it happened based on, of course, geological readings from, electromagnetic analysis of rocks and different sediment layers and things like this. This is how they've determined that it's flipped. And when, all right? So there are ways to figure these things out. But again, like I said, back when it did this stuff, there were no satellites in the sky, right? There were no gas stations, there were no ATMs and Bitcoin and all the rest of this, right? There were no such thing as a blockchain back then. So the question is, do you think this stuff is in danger? Do you think that this may be sort of like a natural EMP of sorts that will kind of crush the technological level we've actually attained? I think that's the weird part here. So anyway, a little bit more from this article. Pretty good stuff, like I said. And as you know, like I said, you probably know more about this than I do. So give me a call. I'll put the phone number up here on the stream, and let's continue talking about this because. Like I said, what's the deal with this? I have no idea. I can't tell you. But here we go. So mapping magnetic fields. Researchers map out the ancient history of Earth's magnetic field using volcanic rocks. When lava cools, the iron that it contains is magnetized in the direction of the magnetic field. By examining these rocks and using radiometric dating techniques, it's possible to reconstruct the past behavior of the planet's magnetism as it strengthened, weakened, or changed polarity. To track more recent magnetic changes, scientists turn to the magnetic properties of archaeological artifacts. When our ancestors heated an ancient hearth or kiln containing iron to high enough temperatures, it would realign its magnetism with Earth's magnetic field upon cooling. And isn't that cool? The point at which this occurs is known as the Curie point, C-U-R-E. Studies have been included some floor segments of an Iron Age building in Jerusalem, which a Babylonian army burnt down in 586 BC. And that's how they've determined this stuff in the past. But again, right, it's still kind of undetermined exactly how quickly this is going to happen, right? Just kind of going through here, reading the chat. I see you guys. Thank you. By the way, if you turn off chat scroll in on Rockfin, it won't just pop back and forth on you. I finally figured that out. So if you guys are messing with the chat over there and wondering why it's bouncing back and forth, that's why. Turn off chat scroll, auto scroll, and it will scroll and stay put where you want it to stay put. Okay, so anyway, so there's more of this. Okay, carrying out measurements on these archaeological artifacts is difficult. For one, the magnetism in ancient objects is very weak, not enough to move a compass needle. And if any objects were heated and cooled several times, several magnetic patterns will be superimposed. Lastly, their reliability is dependent on the objects remaining on the same location that the heating took place. So very much, like we said, science knows it all until it doesn't. And then, like I've said in the past, anthropology, archaeology, these are niches of science that are very much working with a limited data set. Okay, there's only so much that you can know if you haven't really dug up a ton or kind of I understand the two things aren't exactly the same, but you get the idea, right? If you're working with a tiny data set, it's really difficult to determine the truth of things. So here we go. So despite these difficulties of learning all of this stuff, researchers have largely mapped modern changes in the magnetic field beneath Western Europe and the Middle East, which is kind of cool. But like I said, what does that mean? I do like the idea that maybe this is being manipulated or changed with some of this. Maybe people have suggested kind of weather warfare or what about this? What if this is your Great Reset? What if this is the Great Reset they've been talking about and it's being manipulated through science, through technology? Interesting. Like I said, some of this stuff is that's part of the problem. That's part of the issue that I have a hard time dealing with this, thinking about it, because you kind of don't know what's causing this. Or again, right? So let's say science found a way to maybe stabilize this, or maybe help it or hurt it in its movement. if they could say, wait a minute, some way scientifically, let's do this particular thing, and it's going to stop this pole shift from happening, right? It's going to slowly be dragging it back to where it started. If they can do something to that effect, then certainly they could escalate it's happening, right? They can basically do the same thing, just to push it the other direction. So I have no idea. What's up, Lazy Guy says the Earth has a magnetic personality. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. So anyway, there's more of this, and I don't know. I think this is the weird part. Is this again going to be a fast change? Is the pole shift going to be something that takes a very long time? Like I said, 10,000, 20,000 years, or is it again being manipulated? You tell me. Like I said, question show, not the answer show. Here we go. More from this. Like I said, I got lots of information about this, including you got to think of anomalies like this too. We've got some stuff if you want to get in. Like I said, we're kind of open to going wherever you guys want to take this. However, there's some magnetic anomalies on Earth that have been said to have been linked to this sort of bizarre phenomena of the Earth kind of tipping back and forth with its magnetic field, including places like Alaska, for one. Right, of course, they're very, very high up there in the northern region where they get vortexes. They call them. They call them that whole polar vortex thing. But they also get these magnetic vortexes, where it's a very dangerous place to fly planes up there because it's very much akin to the Bermuda Triangle with its magnetic anomaly type stuff. And so that's where a lot of this is like, okay, so how bad can this be? Imagine all the planes in the sky at any one time. You snap your fingers and boom, these planes can no longer coordinate. All the radio goes down, right? You see, there's problems here. There's a lot of issues that could really be just be bad, really, really bad if this thing happens fast. So anyway, just something to keep an eye on. And we can take it to the Bermuda Triangle tonight if you want to talk about that and maybe some of the magnetic anomalies that happen there. Is it linked into this system of maybe the ley lines or this pole shift happening? Who knows? And I think that's part of this is there's so much data that it's really difficult to kind of nail down a huge theory regarding this. Okay, so there you go. So Sherry says no. Sherry on Rockfan says no. It's not going to flip. It's going to happen slowly, ever so slowly. I hope so. So that's the question tonight. All right. So more takes. I'd love to hear from you guys. 702-957-1037. Here we go. So scientists can't be sure of the exact repercussions that a reversal will have. The evidence from previous reversals remains unclear, but they may be serious. Yep, serious. For instance, many animals use the Earth's magnetic field for navigation during migration. That would be a problem, would it not? All the birds are trying to go to one place and they end up in another place. That would be a problem. I wonder if the DNA is kind of built into the birds and right? Something like that. We'll get to the birds tomorrow night. We're gonna bring up the birds tomorrow night. But I wonder if it's built in those navigational systems to understand when it does flip, right? Because some of those entities have been on Earth for, right, evolving for millions or billions of years, as they say. Anyway, so here we go. For instance, juvenile loggerhead turtles dig their way out of underground nests on the beaches of Florida, enter the sea, and travel far into the Atlantic Ocean, sometimes completely traversing the whole ocean there. Then, after many years, they return to the same Florida beaches on which they were born. They navigate this featureless 9,000-mile journey by detecting the strength and direction of the magnetic field. It's also been said, which we talked about in other cases, that sharks are drawn to these magnetic anomalies. And they even say there's one off the coast of Baja California, right down there, Southern California, northern Mexico, right in that area off the coast, where they see these, actually where they saw the Tic Tacs, that whole UFO business. There's some sort of magnetic anomaly that's supposedly underneath the water down there. And so people don't know if it's a natural feature or if there's something maybe buried down below. Some people have speculated an alien base, of course, right? How would you know unless you get down there? But here's the crazy part about that spot in particular. I think it's Santa, what's the name of that island? It just came to me right now, so forgive my poor research on this because, right, as you talk about it, your brain starts to open up and you start to remember details about these things. Santa Catalina, I think, is the name of the island, something like that. Anyway, there's an island down there and there's a magnetic anomaly just off the coast where they saw those Tic Tacs. And in particular, the great white sharks in the area down there, they're all drawn to this spot. So it's like one of the most shark-infested areas, great white sharks of any place in the world. They've got that place there, and they've got just off the coast of South Africa. Those are the two largest concentrations of great white sharks. And when we originally talked about this, just the magnetic anomaly part, Frank was still on the show. That's how far back this went. But we were discussing Lou Elizondo and the UFO stuff and how maybe, the aliens had known somehow in this underwater base that if they created this magnetic anomaly, they would bring the great whites to them and basically, get underwater watchdogs to keep people from meddling in the alien base, right? There you go. The sharks have laser beams, right? Something like that. Anyway, so some interesting thoughts about not just how animals are locked into this electromagnetic field and this pole shift as it's happening. Will it throw some of that stuff off? And if it does, so let's say it does change, 30, 50 years, 30 miles, 50 miles, and then 100 miles, and it continues to grow each year. You may have an issue with some of these, like these turtles in particular, not being able to find their way back to where they began life to lay their eggs and start over again. Or the birds may, actually navigate somewhere else for the winter instead of their desired nesting place. So who knows? And I think this is part of the mystery of this, like what in the world is going on. But okay, so as we continue talking about this, like I said, looking to hear from you, 702-957-1037. All right, so here we go. There's more. So there we go. We talked about the turtles. Would their lives be seriously disrupted by the reversal of that magnetic field? Additionally, Earth is constantly bombarded with a stream of charged particles arriving from the sun and cosmic rays, mostly protons and atomic nuclei from deep space. In the period leading up to reversal, the magnetic field becomes weaker and significantly less effective at shielding us from those particles. Uh-oh. While some geologists note that mass extinctions seem to correlate with these time periods, humans or our ancestors have been on Earth for several million years. During that time, there have been many reversals, so there is no obvious correlation with human development. Well, I guess, as always, like I always say, it depends on who you ask, doesn't it? It depends on who you ask. So I don't know. I have no idea. Right? Yeah. Derek's got it right. That sounds pretty Lovecraftian. Anomaly in the deep attracting aquatic monsters to it, right? And not only that, if it's some sort of intentional thing to bring the aquatic monsters in as sort of watchdogs to keep pesky divers, weirdness, right? So I don't know. I think that's some of the stuff that we're talking about and thinking about tonight. And like I said, you guys know more about this than me. I nearly guarantee that. It's probably the reason why I've avoided this for so long. It's because it's difficult to talk about because the scope of a polar shift, or an actual pole shift itself, the magnetic field flipping, becomes hard to quantify because, again, science is still sketchy on some of the theories they have, and of course, as you know, they don't actually have a way of really determining how fast this is going to happen. Sherry has it probably right. I would imagine Sherry says animals already know that this is happening, and I tend to agree. I don't think that right. Imagine if every time the polar shift happened, and or the pole shift, polar. I keep saying polar. The pole shift happened. We had like a cataclysm of animals. I'd think that would be tracked, right? You'd think that there would have like these extinction events that kind of end up with sort of a, like the exact time frames of these pole shifts happening. So I don't know. I think there's some weirdness to this, and like I said, that's probably why I've dodged it. I don't know if we got Daryl here. I don't know if Daryl wants to be on the show, but she's in the Shoot the Breeze channel. Let's go to Daryl. Let's go to Daryl in New York. Daryl, are you there?
You would have like these extinction events that kind of end up with sort of a.
I guess so.
Like the exact time frames of these pole shifts happening. So I don't know.
All right, Daryl. So you're up. Let me know. Just type to me in chat whenever you're ready to go, and just make sure you have the show muted. If you want to jump in after we come back from the top of the hour, you're welcome to. I know it's hard to juggle all those things on one device because there's a 1 minute delay as a broadcast goes through, and so it takes her a while to. Anyway, so there we go. So what else do we got? Just reading the chat. What do you guys think? Is this is this something we should be worried about? Technology. We'll get to that in a little bit. We'll get to that after the top of the hour here. But I think Sherry's right in this regard. I think that the animals probably have something built into that sort of whatever it is, that electromagnetic GPS system that has been, kind of burned into their DNA for so many millions of years. I think they know. I think they're probably ahead of this game, and we're just trying to figure it out. Like, they kind of know, right? Like, maybe, I don't know. What are your theories on this? And like I said, I'm not really sure. Just kind of reading the chat here, seeing if there's any good stuff here. Let's see. What's up, Chris? I see you there. I see all the questions. We can't get to all the questions until we'll try and get to more of those in the third hour. But okay, so that's what's going on tonight. That's what's on my mind, and I don't have those answers. As you know, I'm not the answers guy, because, well, there's a lot of those people out there. I think it's probably more important to have questions guys, questions people, and right, that we get together and talk about these things as theories, as what do you think is happening? Treeland had a good point. Do you think it's being manipulated by NASA, possibly by governments of the world that are hiding things in the atmosphere from us? Do you think that plays a part here? And if so, like I said, is that going to be our great reset, as it were? And yeah, so I don't know. I do not know. Let's see. Daedalus, what's up, says humankind has survived flips in the past. I think they said the last one was 700,000 years ago plus. So there you go. I have no idea. That's a long time ago. That's a long, like I said, that could be pre-Atlantis type, right, human civilization. So I wonder, right? I wonder if that was sort of a situation where, people have speculated Atlantis and Lemuria way, way, way back were advanced civilizations. I wonder if that last pole shift had something to do with maybe them kind of drying up and disappearing as, civilizations, advanced civilizations of the earth. Curious. So anyway, that's what we're talking about tonight, and that's what's on my mind. And like I said, I wonder, is it going to be a fast flip? Is it going to be a slow flip? This polar reversal I keep saying it, pole reversal. I keep adding pole reversal. Is it going to be a quick thing? Is it going to be a slow thing? And as a result of all of that, is it going to be dangerous to people? So we'll get to that in the rest of this article as we kind of click over the top of the hour here after the break. But that's what's on my mind tonight. Do you think this is a danger to people, or do you think that there's something else here that's it's going to happen gradually, and we're going to be able to adapt and change with it, and it's just going to be nothing to see here after so many years? And that's the question, right? That's the question here. And so if you want to be part of the show, as you know, we're taking your phone calls at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And again, the pole shift. It's been in the news kind of on and off, and there's a lot of conspiracy regarding this. Is it going to be one of those situations where it's fast? Is it slow? Is it being manipulated by science and technology, by the technocrats and the powers that be? Or is this a completely natural occurrence? And most importantly, do you think it's dangerous? Do you think pole shift is dangerous? Yeah, lots to think about, lots to talk about. We'll be back with some of the technological implications after the break. You're listening to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. More conversation about pole shift, the world, and you after the break. Don't go anywhere. We are talking about the alien abduction phenomenon.
The aliens are looking through your eyes and they're accessing your optic nerve. And through that optic nerve, they're transferring to your brain. People are randomly do this. They traverse neurons in the
So
brain.
we got, all right, so maybe,
And they also feel them planting or
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
all right, good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. This is the show where we get together on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, and we talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what those things are? Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. This show is live. We are streaming on Rockfin, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. You could join us at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also join the Discord at the official website, troubledminds.org. Please help out the Fringe as well, fringe.fm/chat. Come join their Discord and download the app, fringe.fm. It's in all the app stores, and that's your easiest access to the Fringe FM on the go. 24 hours a day, that station's rolling. All kinds of good stuff on there all the time. So there we are. So the question tonight is this, as we boil it down and get ready to rock. What's happening with the pole shift? All right. Now, the scientists have kind of really, it's undetermined, let's say. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Is some have suggested that this may happen quickly. Some have suggested that the pole shift may happen in increments. And as it's accelerating, we're starting to see that happen. But it's at some point, do we expect it to snap back? But this whole pole shift thing becomes very much, let's say a dangerous possibility, meaning that if it does snap quickly and we have the technological society we have, maybe we have a sort of situation that throws us back to the Stone Age. So again, I don't have the answers here. You guys know me. This is not the answer show. It's the question show. And so I'm looking to hear from you tonight. And what do you think about this stuff? Like I said, we got some folks on hold here. So let's go to these nice folks here. Daryl, if you're out there listening, let me know if you want to be on the show, because you've been in Discord, as Matt said, most of the day there. So I'm not sure if you want to join the show or you're just hanging out. But anyway, let's go to Derek in Massachusetts. And whenever you're ready, sir. Derek, the Night Stalker. What's happening, my man? Welcome to the show. Whenever you're ready. And I realize you're on a delay, so there we go. There we go. Now he's ready. Thank you, Derek. What's happening, my man? Derek from Massachusetts, the Night Stalker. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Going on, brother? Great stuff tonight.
Thank you. It's a little bit disconcerting for me because, like I said, I've never talked about it. And now that I start thinking about it actively, color me worried? What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know a ton about the actual pole shift itself. To be honest, the whole topic's been kind of a little annoying to me because I'm heavily invested in I call it the ley line portal grid collapse, which I think has very similar symptoms to a pole shift. It will look like the same kind of apocalyptic scenario that is usually ascribed to the pole shift, but I think what goes in to the point where I think the pole shift narrative is almost like a distraction. It's like a piece of what the ley line portal grid collapse will be, and it's a way to kind of take maybe our attention off of what the true end goal might be, because I think the ley line energy is more than just the magnetic field. The magnetic field is part of it and plays a factor in it, but there's also other energetic fields throughout the earth, like the telluric currents and all kind of stuff like that. That's all kind of factored into the soup. But I do think all these rituals and this mad scientist tinkering that's going on, all this CERN type stuff, is a a way to kind of shake the ley line portal grid and then collapse reality. It's kind of like my big grand theory is that this ley line grid, like, you kind of visualize it the same way all those magnetic field pictures kind of like are shown, but it's not like outside the planet the way the magnetic field is shown to be. It's like it is the fabric of reality, but best visualized as kind of a web like that, but it is reality. So collapsing the grid collapses the pillars of reality, like merging the realms together to bring in the hordes of demons or the Lovecraftian old ones, et cetera, the Titans.
The Titans.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
Sharks with laser beams.
Exactly, yeah.
Whatever.
So,
go ahead. And
that's what I think is kind of going on. Like, that's like, and as far as like, that's like super galaxy brain out there type stuff. I truly think that's what's going on. I think like, I use the analogy of like a game of whack-a-mole where like, I think these portal spots are naturally forming or naturally existing. They're like chakra points or acupuncture points on the human body, but on the Earth body, they're on every planet. They connect the entire cosmos together. In Hindu mythology, it's called Indra's web, Indra's jeweled web, that web that connects reality. And these these portal spots, they know where they are. Like they all do different things. They're different sizes. They're different importance, but they're all kind of under the custody of the powers that be, whether they're like reservation areas or government buildings or military installations or even even golf courses or places where you kind of control them for like when the portals are to open. And it's like a whack-a-mole scenario where if you want to get the prize inside, you want to get the tickets inside, which is like, I think it's like the Lovecraftian old ones, like whatever they're making deals with that want to bust into our reality. You want to get them out without like the key to the machine. You want to break the machine. So when one mole is coming up, like, or when one portal is opening, or you go to one portal spot or whatever, and you mess with it. So the mole's coming up, you like grab it and don't let it go back down. Or like one mole's coming up, you like put your hand over the hole and don't let it come up. So you kind of mess with the portals, or just go to a spot and pour a little coffee on it or something if it's the machine, or like put a hadron collider on it and try to shake reality that way, or do some kind of magic on it and do like a ritual killing on it. I think a lot of these rituals, these terrorist attacks, and these like even mass demonstrations or like Super Bowls and pop culture events, like any major like event is happening on these spots. I also think that they're tied to rivers too, but yeah, that's a lot. But for instance, like the animals use the magnetic field. They're tied to these like currents. They can either like naturally just navigate using them, or they see them and visualize them, or who knows what they experience it as. But as far as the ritual is concerned, like last year or 2 years ago, there was a shooting in Nova Scotia, like where like somebody went in with a gun and killed like 10 people or whatever. And then the next day in the same town, there was like 200 birds just like fell out of the sky, pretty much. And that's kind of like what I mean as like kind of shaking the fabric of reality. And there's this website, strangesounds.com or whatever, that posts like all kind of apocalyptic news. And honestly, like once a week, there's some kind of mass animal die-offs, whether it's whales or manatees and birds all the time. Like crabs, it's all kind of stuff is like showing up with like hundreds and hundreds of them just like falling out of the sky or washing up on shore and stuff. Things that use these currents to navigate and stuff. So if something is happening,
Yeah,
that's a lot of nonsense I just threw out there. But what do you think?
Well, I do like the idea that so just like Treelin actually described here, there's some manipulation probably going on about this, and it has to do with people. And I like the idea of collapsing reality, and especially in the sense that I think you could probably argue that in many cases, like we've talked about, again, the archons on this show and things like this, and what sort of, and even back to like the Great Reset, like I described, maybe this is exactly what that means.
The Great Reset of reality.
Right, the Great Reset of reality. But the Davos guys and the rest of this, the economic people are describing it as, wink, wink, the Great Reset. But they may know, right? And again, this is why, right, Zuckerberg and all these guys, they all ran and got their bunkers in New Zealand and Hawaii, and right, that's what just happened in the last couple of years. Like, it's almost like if you like, I think you could probably put a compelling paper together, like a huge, maybe 20, 25 page paper citing all these sources and these exact things, and I think you could make a case, my friend. I think you've been making it quite a lot with all the different shows you've been contributing to over the years too. Here is maybe this is that Great Reset. It's just code. It's the economic code for the resetting reality. I like it, man. I love the theory.
That's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot. As far as like the first caller was talking about the objects near the sun, and that's its own like crazy rabbit hole you can go down, and it could be connected. As far as the magnetic fields is concerned, like they are connected to the sun. They are wrapped in. There's a NASA link from like 2012, I think, or 2015, something like that, where they talk about portals, like the natural portals, quote unquote, that open and close randomly across the planet that are linked to the sun. They don't tell you where they are, and it makes it seem like it's pretty random and sporadic, but that's like the science that they present, is that the field is connected to the sun. So if there is some kind of object that's either passing by the sun or sucking energy from the sun or whatever, like there's all kind of crazy videos you can find and pictures and stuff. Like one of the first ones I saw was like probably like 2015 or 2016. Is a researcher, Mary Joyce, who runs skyships.overcachers.com, and she's like known for like these pictures of like just crazy anomalies in the sky. And there's one that apparently she had analyzed by a Hubble telescope operator or something, where it looks basically just like a giant blue orb near the sun if you look at the picture, but apparently it's a giant metallic object that, based on how big it is compared to the sun, it would be like bigger than Jupiter in this case. So imagine the civilization that would be how advanced would have to be to develop to build the craft that's bigger than Jupiter, and if that is messing with the sun, I don't know. That's some pretty sci-fi crazy stuff. But then since then, like I do see stuff. Like I haven't really dove down the rabbit holes, but I do see stuff every once in a while of like crazy object near the sun, like draining the sun's energy, or some kind of giant cube coming out of a hole in the sun, or something like that. Every once in a while. So, and then there's the Nibiru stuff, where if there's like, which I have been fascinated with over the past couple of years. If there is something that's like the story, the legend, or whatever it's supposed to be, that we can't see it until it's too late because it's coming from behind the sun. So if there is some kind of giant object that's affecting, it's pulling energy towards it, we might experience it that way. I don't know. There's people behind me, so I'll let you go. But
all good. Great stuff as always, Derek. You're the best.
Later, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Great stuff. That's Derek from Massachusetts, an Ice Stalker, and yeah. There you go. Good stuff. All right, so check it out, guys. We're taking your phone calls tonight. We're talking about pole shift, and a lot of stuff there. So Derek was describing the breaking down of reality itself through this ley line portal grid, and possibly through maybe these elites. And so I chipped in my 2 cents to his $75 worth, and maybe this is that great reset. Maybe this is exactly what they've been talking about. It's not an economic reset, but it's a reset of reality itself. And yeah, there you go. Chris says, doesn't the Great Reset have to do with the depopulation agenda? And yes, definitely. And also, as a result of that, they've described it as like exactly like the Georgia Guidestone sort of situation, just like you're describing there. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't have answers here. We're speculating on a bunch of this stuff, as you guys know, and that's why we get together to kind of suspend disbelief for the evening and talk about some of these actual considerations. And Derek's right. A great call as always from Derek. There are people that say there are things coming in and out of the sun. There's some sort of portal network in the sun itself, and all the rest of this. So there's a lot there. There's a lot to think about, and who knows? I love the Lovecraftian old ones. So we're taking your phone calls. If you want to be a part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And let's go to Daryl. Daryl in New York. Whenever you're ready, my friend. Daryl on the Discord. Are you there? Daryl said she was ready to go, so we'll give her just a sec, because like I said, I know there's a minute delay, and it's weird when you're on Discord, so So whenever you're ready, Daryl. So that's what we're talking about tonight, guys. One more time, you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037, and you can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Also, go to the Fringe Discord. It's the same program, different chat room, fringe.fm/chat, and also download the Fringe app. Like I said, lots of ways to support the network, support the shows, and those are some of the really easy, free ways you can help everybody out by kind of just coming and joining the conversation. Daryl, are you there? You got me muted?
I think I did it right.
Nice.
Okay.
Welcome to the show. Daryl from New York. How are you?
I'm good. Boy, Night Stalker always slams it into the home run field there. Home run for him.
I sent somebody to get the ball. They'll bring it back in a little bit. How are you doing tonight?
I'm okay. Just another reason to pull my blankets over my head. These are one of the top, my top 4 things I'm afraid of that I have no control over. Is this is definitely one of them: polar shift, solar flare, tsunami, and meteor strikes or asteroids. Like things, if they happen, we're F. So, but somebody explained to me once about the polar shift that if Mercury can go into retrograde, who else goes into retrograde? Not tonight. Mercury's in retrograde. It's not the right time. Like that's an excuse for a lot of things. But what is that? And does Earth go into retrograde? And then I heard somebody say a polar shift. We have them every 16 years. Did you feel the last one? Like no. We had one like 10 years ago. Every 14 years. Every 16 years. So I'm wondering like. It's not a shift in the poles. They're not going to swap places, which is what it sounds like to me. But they just shift, and it's maybe they exchange places, but they don't exactly move. The north becomes weaker and the south becomes stronger, or something like that. I still don't get it, but it's just one of those fear porn things. I think that can make you lose sleep over it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So I think that's part of it too. Like a lot of the stuff, and this is another reason why I avoided it. Kind of like Derek was saying, you can go check at different places on YouTube, and this is nothing but fear mongering most times, right? Like they've been saying these things, and I don't know. Like I'm not so sure the end is nigh. I just hate being that guy because there's so many people out there doing it already, and I'm not sure it's right. You know what I'm saying? Like think of all the people who've predicted the end over the years. We're still here, I mean, not to say we're invincible. I mean, I'm not that stupid, but just the fact of the matter is, like, just because somebody says or puts up a YouTube video that the end is nigh does not mean it is. And so I think, I think we gotta sometimes back off that ledge. And like you said, it is kind of fear porn a little bit. And I don't know. I think there's more to it, though, because, we got some implications with the animals. We've got the technological implications with our satellites. And like I said, everything's tied into that. We'll get to that as we go tonight. But I don't know, like regarding the actual like consequences of this and is it going to happen fast? I think the thing that alarms me the most about it, just kind of in terms of what I know of what science is saying about it, is that it is weakening. And so as it shifts, it's weakening. It's almost like it's pressing past this barrier. And like Derek was saying, maybe it's locked into that ley line grid and somehow those things are being tampered with. And so it's being released. It's being weakened intentionally. So I don't know, like this is the type of thing, if it is actually weakening, and they've proved this, scientifically they've proved this, and it is drifting, this pole shift is drifting more and more every year since, like River said in the chat there, since about 2002. Is this going to be a cataclysm or not? And right, like you said, kind of one of those things you can't control, and if it is, well, what can you do? I mean, here we are anyway.
I'm thinking the microwave type of technology, which I don't think we should be messing with at all, and some of these antimatter, which is probably real and scary as hell, technology that they could just like point and shoot and boom, you're going to just wipe out New York. It's just going to disappear and nobody's going to know the better. I mean, they have stuff that I think like they can actually make that happen. You can just point it at the country and let's say we don't need Russia anymore. So who's to say that we're not going to be the cause of something like a polar shift? And I don't think it's happened before in the way you were thinking, but I think the birds dying, I have a thought about that, and I think it is due to the microwave technology. but they just drop out of the sky. But there's no reason for that. They have this quorum physics technology where they all turn in the same direction at the same time, like fish in a school of fish in the water and birds in the sky.
Birds in the sky. Oh, yes. Oh, the birds.
Like a large bird instead of like 1,000 little birds. And suddenly they get their directions mixed up and they just fly into each other, or I don't know what happens. But I think some of the technology we're messing with, we shouldn't be. And I think we're going to be the downfall of all of Mother Nature's intentions. We're just going to make her change her mind and maybe make her shift her pole and just shake us all off like a dog with fleas, Get the hell off of me,
Right, exactly. Quit screwing everything up. We do a good job of screwing things up as people, that's for sure. Absolutely. We got a call behind you. You want to hang out for a little bit, and then we'll get back to you a little bit later? It's up to you.
Problem.
You choose. Okay, let's get to the call. I'm gonna mute you. We'll get to you. There you go. You muted yourself. You're good. Stay right there, Daryl. You can listen right here on this channel. I'm gonna go to this phone call. We'll get to you after the break and keep on talking with you. We got Rohan on deck as well. Rohan, stay tuned. We'll get right to you. Let's go to the phone call. Welcome to the show. What's your first name? Where are you calling from? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike and Daryl.
Mr. Strange, thanks for taking my call. This is JR.
JR, where are you calling from, my friend?
New Mexico.
All right, perfect. Welcome to the show. JR, New Mexico. What's on your mind? Go right ahead.
Would you consider some type of catastrophic event like this to take place? Would you consider this to be some type of contrived plot to usher in new forms of control?
Yeah, I think it's on the table. I think Night Stalker Derek there laid out a pretty good, compelling case that possibly, and Treelyn earlier when she called and said that there seems to be something in the atmosphere they might be covering up. So I'm open to those possibilities, yes.
I mean, we can definitely feel it. Not a lot of mainstream, not a lot of news coverage on what's happening around the world, but there's events taking place all over, like your Mr. Night Stalker was talking about. And we could see it. I don't know about yourself, but I can definitely feel a change. But as for the pole shift, I kind of was just dabbling on the internet trying to find some stuff, and I had seen talk about it, taking place. London, March 5th, 2001. Here they had talked about the last pole shift taking place. There was the Ice Age, and that was 42,000 years ago. So, I mean, if something like that were to happen, I know you mentioned something about your ancestors earlier on in the show.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So, yeah, I think a lot of this now and what we're feeling has to do with diverting back to our ancestors and where we come from, and being as strong as possible, and surviving. Being human, overcoming, because that's the biggest thing. Is human is very we can adapt, right? We can definitely overcome any type of curveball thrown at us. And if the pole shift, which I think could possibly be happening, and maybe the vaccine that they're trying to inject everyone has something to do with that. Maybe they want to track everybody, see where everybody's at when the events have taken place, and they don't want people trying to form their own colonies and this and that. Or it could be something to help the radiation from all of the space debris, because that would happen too. The magnetic field's going down, the pole shifting. We would be exposed to a lot more radiation. Sorry, you're getting a lot of background noise.
That's okay. We have to take a break. That's why. That's the music here. So you want to hang tight? We'll get right back to you.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
That's cool. Don't go anywhere. Thank you. Putting you on hold. We'll be right back. All right, this is Troubled Minds on Michael Strange. We're talking about the pole shift. We've got JR on the line. We got Daryl here with us tonight as well. We got Rohan on deck. We're looking to talk to you. 702-957-1037. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds after the break. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We are streaming on Rockfin, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope, and we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. We're talking about the pole shift tonight. Do you think there's something with this? Do you think it's being manipulated? Do you think this is the actual Great Reset? And what are the implications? Got some folks waiting, so we're going to get right to it. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Let's go back to JR in New Mexico. Thank you so much for waiting, my friend. Welcome back to the show. Go ahead and continue your thoughts.
Hello, sir. No. I mean, what did you retain from anything I had said?
Absolutely nothing. Start right over. And I only say that because I got 50 things going on. But go ahead and start from the top.
No, that's how I am all the time. I'll call back later on this evening more, but I would like for everybody to get at what they would like to to talk about. But I do genuinely think that we're going to see something here fairly soon, and it's going to be up to the individual and how they're going to take it. And hopefully there will be enough tools in that repertoire to combat it, enough to survive. I genuinely think it's going to be survival, because look what we're seeing. We're literally being stripped of our rights. Like I stop complying. I try to reach out to as many people as I can to stop complying with all of the nonsense and just lockdowns, mandates, and medical tyranny that's going on. But anyways, I'll call back unless you have any other questions for me.
Yeah, I do. So before you go,
I kind of went on a quick rant.
Yeah, it's cool. So what I did get from your message there that sticks is it was positivity. It was that in spite of all of the things in front of us, humans are the perseverance of the human spirit will triumph over this. That's what I got from what you were describing previously, and I agree with you. And that's why we do the show the way we do it, is because this is not doom mongering. This is not fear porn or any of that stuff. We're trying to say, hey, look, there are challenges. We'll always have challenges, but the human spirit endures. So before I let you go, if you had to point it out, we talked about this great reset becoming, let's say, an economic thing. Let's say, as Derek described, maybe a reset of reality, or do you think it's something else, like maybe a spiritual reset, like the Age of Aquarius? How do you think that fits into this?
Definitely trying to detach us from our spirit. They do not want us to be intertwined with our spirit, because if we're intertwined with our spirit, then we're limitless, right? We are much more powerful. They want us as the elite globalists, whatever you want to call it, want us stripped of our power. And right now, we have a lot of powerful people out there doing a lot of things. There are a lot of moves that are being made, and like myself, like you, just getting the message out there, constantly talking to people, shows like this. It's not fear mongering. It's not, because think back to your ancestors. Think back to where you've come from. You're here. You're in a home. Maybe you had something special for lunch. Something American, right? Something a little different, but it made you feel comfortable. But really think about it. Think how you've come to that box that you're in right now. It was from crossing mountains and seas and battling and fighting and meditating and legitimately, like the most magical situation that you could possibly, the most traumatic, craziest things that you could cut. The movies, the things that they could try to conjure up can never explain what your ancestors have gone through, right? And how we're so powerful. We're such powerful species to have endured what we've endured. We're pretty special. So everybody keep that in mind. Constantly know how special and spiritual, capable you are of holding your position and progressing in the world and the country, and try to keep that preserved, right? Help keep that for everybody, your children, because right now we're seeing everything unfold, and the veil is lifting, and now it's up to us to really decide if we are going to sink or swim, fight or flight, and just know where you come from, right? Understand, like it was easy to get that lunch today, but back in the day, it wasn't so easy, and we've come from a lot. And the reason why we're here is because those people that have brought us on all of those different, from all the different steps, we're strong, very strong people. But anyways, I definitely appreciate you having me on and allowing me to talk. Hopefully, I made a little bit of sense.
Perfect sense. Thank you for the positive message. Thank you for listening. We'll catch back. You're welcome to call back in the third hour. Okay. Thanks for the call, man.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. That's the JR in New Mexico. Easy as that, guys. You want to be part of the show? 702-957-1037. Thanks for being patient with us, Daryl. Welcome back to the show. You're welcome to just stay there in the chat if you want to listen this way. It's probably easier. You get no delay.
I want to thank your last guest. I think he was amazing. JR, thank you for your call. I just loved everything he said. And I'm totally on your wavelength. I think, Mike, you know that. How I feel about what's going on now. I'm totally with you. It's people like you that are going to make this planet great. And we got to keep up that kind of attitude and that kind of message and keep spreading that message. God bless you for saying everything you said. I'm totally behind you.
Agreed.
That's all.
Good stuff. Definitely good stuff. Okay, so stay right where you're at, Daryl. I know you got the weird delay, so just stay there. I'm going to put you on mute. I'll come back, and you're welcome to either stay or join. Just send me a message in chat if you want to get back on. I'm going to bring Rohan on, so I'm not going to move you out because it's going to mess you up with the delay. Just go ahead and listen right where you're at. Okay, let's go to Rohan. Rohan the Mighty. Rohan, welcome to the show. How are you, my man? He's got a delay, too, because Discord, so that's okay. If you guys want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. We're talking about pole shift tonight. Does it have something to do with this great reset? Is it a spiritual war? Is it an economic war? Or is it something else? Is it a war on our very reality? And is it actually related at all? Are we just kind of making up things that don't exist here? I have no idea. What's up, Rohan? Welcome to the show.
All right, how you doing? You all right?
Doing great. How are you, my man? Welcome.
Oh, you hear me? I just wait for a response. I wasn't sure it's coming through. But yeah, man. Yeah. 23rd, I thought. End of the world's supposed to be the 23rd, isn't it? Because it was last year. You know what I mean?
Which 23rd of what?
Exactly. I kept hearing in the last few years, 23rd of September. And then then it don't happen, and someone go, no, it's October. It's that same old thing, isn't it?
Oh yeah. The Nostradamus stuff.
Yeah,
we're still like, oh, he predicted the end of the world, but the end ain't happened yet.
Yeah, some people built a whole career on the 2012 stuff, galactic super, and then it didn't happen. Anyway, yeah. Listen, I love that last caller. That's the sentiment I wanted to get across because. In fact, I'm going to tie in the last three callers all together.
Yeah, go for it.
I want to follow from. Is that okay? Yeah. So it's only two paragraphs. Right.
You're good. Go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
Go right ahead, sir.
Okay, here we go. So following on from Night Stalker, right? Because I think that's what it is. It's a lot more complicated. Like for example, the sun, 8 magnetic poles, right? It's complicated. Yeah, the sun has sunspots that are black. But that's all light. It's all made of light, isn't it? Right? So how are they black? Unless it's black on the inside. You see how this works? Right? And so there's way more to this. Stars aren't fire. They're electromagnetic spheres. And as far as I'm concerned, they're manifesting energy in from another dimension or the counterpart part of this universe, the contracting part. Right? This Night Stalker says you've got these ley lines all over the place. Okay, all your gigantic structures are built on the intersecting nodes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we've had ancient civilizations. There's over 900 examples of ancient technologies that's better than ours, right? Scientists of today don't know shit, as far as I'm concerned. They don't. They parade theories as facts. Even Louis Pasteur used to admit his own data. So I'm thinking Night Stalker's on it. And it ties in with that what I've been saying the whole way through. This whole thing is a shotgun wedding to scare the crap out of people, as far as I can see. All right, big massive shotgun wedding. Think about it. You've had all the 2012 hype. Yeah, you've had all the 9/11 for 13 years. Al Qaeda was our enemy, and suddenly they're helping us fight the Muslim Brotherhood. Right, I've had all that for all that time. Then they dump this on us at exactly the same time. There's this magnetic stuff going on, that an epoch's change, a zodiac's change. All the religions are waiting for a second coming. Buddhism's saying that the Buddha's coming back to Earth for the first time in over 40,000 years. Do you know what I mean? Now, true or not, we know there's really advanced technologies. We know that Moore's law means you can have twice as many transistors in a microchip every 2 years, right? Technology builds on technology. We passed the acquisition of technology in 2003. Do you know what I'm saying? We know we can control weather. You did a show on being able to fake UFOs. Do you know what I'm saying? Then if you bring in directed energy weapons, bring in directed energy weapons, then bring in scalar physics. I don't know if anyone's looked into that. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around. It's like standing wave stuff. Do you know what I mean? And you can amplify things, and that stuff's powerful stuff, man. That can blow planets up if you get it right. So can you control magnet? Well, they're controlling the clouds. Been doing that with iodine. Been doing since the 50s. You know what I'm saying? We know weather manipulation's happening. They call it geoengineering. So why not, right? Why not mess with all of it? Because I think that's what it comes down to. I think we're heading into a golden age, and somebody wants to stop it from every single possible holographic layer angle they can possibly cover, because they have to, because that's how strong it is. So that's my thinking.
So it is. So it's a great reset on all fronts. Like, everything is under attack, and it's basically this battle of consciousness. Like Austin has said when he's called in the past. By the way, Austin will be on the show tomorrow to talk about the green language, or the language of the birds. But Austin has said it's the same battle that's always persisted. It's good and evil, and it just depends on which angle you're kind of paying attention to. But it's all there. It's all in front of us. It's just maybe there is a unification to those theories, and maybe it's all part of that larger plan, the larger Great Reset, as it were. I like it, man. I like it. I mean, I don't like it, but I like the theory.
Yeah. Because I don't think there's really any judgment. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think it's really. It's just a case. It's causality. It's just a case of some paths lead to creation and some paths lead to destruction. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just which one you fall on, or which one you choose, should I say? So.
Exactly. Amen to that. Anything else on the pole shift? What do you think this has to do with? You think we're in like a direct danger, and is it more of a natural thing? What about the animals and the sharks with the laser beams and all the rest of this? Like, there's so many ways to take.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. What I thought about this as well. This is the thing I missed off actually. Yeah, the insects and stuff, right? Because we haven't got it all clocked. We don't know. We've seen birds attacking 5G towers. Do you know what I'm saying? The bee colony collapse stuff. We've had a lot of stuff. We don't know. Somebody's mentioned mass die-offs. We have birds falling out of the sky and things like that. It's like, do you know what I'm saying? We don't know. I think about this. I think the influence of modern EM fields ain't been around that long. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we tend to bring out technologies and then not realize the full implications, because you have to start using the technologies a bit to realize new things to use it for. So you don't get the implications until 20 years later. So they're throwing out 5Gs and whatever. You don't know what it's doing. You know what I'm saying? Look how many drugs have come out where decades later they're like, oh, that was a bad idea. So, you know what I'm saying?
Agreed. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, as you're aware, we're kind of speculating here. This is not the answer show, but I do love everybody's open mind here. So many angles. Like I say, it's so strange to me that I have it set right. And I'm like, okay, I got to backload things because I'm like, I don't know how deep we're going to get into this. I don't know if people are going to be interested. All the rest of that, and then you guys show up and just blow this MFer up. That's where we're at, man. And like I said, I'm thankful for you and everybody else that calls into this, because you always take it to other places I hadn't even considered, right? And I think that's what makes this whole thing special. So thank you for all that, my man. Definitely good stuff. Anything else while we got you on?
Throw a question at you quick before I jump. Can I throw a question at you?
Sure.
Do you think chemtrails are involved with this? Because I've wondered about if part of that is to do with tracking something. You know what I mean?
That's an interesting question. I would guess if there's a larger nefarious plot at play here, like Derek has actually described, where it's about breaking down reality, and it's through ritual and through some of these other things. We've talked about them putting silver sulfates in the sky. And so maybe that is some sort of ritualistic aspect of whatever needs to be. And so I'm open to that fact. We talked about that in the silver show. You heard that show, right? We were kind of talking about maybe the silver sulfates in the sky through chemtrails are some way to maybe weaken whatever the veil is to bring in whatever that reset happens to be. So I'm with you, man. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yeah, as a possibility, add it to the list.
Well, I think that's supposed to be. I mean, I don't know where this came from. I can't remember the source years ago, but there was something about either the people of Hiva or ancient Atlantis were they had a situation like this, and they got screwed over, and they weren't ready for it, and some people had to use the Merkaba to protect the magneticness of the being or whatever, and some people didn't, and it screwed them up. And that was like the fallen angel stuff. But yeah. It brings me on to that metaphysical stuff, because it's every level. It's every level. And this is why I want to just rehash JR's point of saying, we've been here a long time, man. It's so what? If we get a Carrington event, if we get a big solar, so what? We'll just use steam power for a while. We'll just have to work 12 hours a day. They're grafting a bit down the farm. No, we'll be all right. Got this far. I mean,
we'll be fine. We'll tough it up. We'll make it happen. I like it. I love the attitude, man. Yeah. That's what this is about, right? The positivity, the fact that, like I said, the indomitable human spirit. And here we are. Always ready.
Yeah, and let me throw this out to Americans as well. You built the grandest vision of civilization, bunch of randoms out of nowhere with no base to work from in record time. So, just that example is enough.
Yeah, right. There you go. There it is, guys. It exists. An international that appreciates America. Weird. I'm told they don't exist. Thank you, Rohan. You are the best, my friend. You're welcome to call back in the third hour. You already know. Great stuff as always.
Cheers.
And we're moving on. Appreciate it, man. We got to finish this show up. All right. So moving you out, Daryl, stay right there. All right. This is the deal, right? So as these conversations sort of winds down, we got a few minutes left. If you guys want to be part of the show, thanks, Rohan. Thanks, everybody. Daryl, Night Stalker. Thanks, JR. Thanks to everybody all the way back that called tonight. Treeland that kicked us off. Thank you, everybody. Now, look, this is the thing, right? Don't stop considering all the possibilities. And again, as JR said, don't stop being positive, because this is what it's all about. It is about that human spirit that we can. And I think Rohan's right. I think JR is right. I think that's, again, like I said, this show's about a lot of things. And, we talk about a lot of things and we speculate a lot of things, and that's okay. Because don't forget, we still have the right to be wrong. And it's an important aspect, okay? And so we're going to get to the technology stuff, too, just to kind of shoehorn it in at the end here to make sure we have a full, complete show, at least in details. But we have time for you guys if you want to be part of the show. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And here we go. I'm going to go back to this article real quick. Just to finish it up, okay? So here's what they're talking about for technology-wise, and why this may be a bizarre thing, right? Why we may be in some sort of technological danger with this pole shift stuff. So here we go. The direct effect on mankind could be only slight, but not so for technology. We use artificial satellites for navigation, television broadcasting, weather forecasting, environmental monitoring, and communication of all kinds. Without the protection of a magnetic field, these satellites could be seriously disrupted by solar wind or cosmic rays colliding with electronic circuits. A weak magnetic field in the South Atlantic Ocean, known as the South Atlantic Anomaly, already adversely affects satellites that could be an indication of what is to come. Recent geological surveys have suggested a possible reason for the anomaly. It is widely believed that our moon was formed when the Earth was struck by the planet Theia 4.5 billion years ago, but the remains of Theia have never been found. It now appears that the remains of Theia may lie beneath our feet. Or what if Theia was Tiamat and Nibiru of that fame? You guys tell me. Anyway, so there are 2 huge volumes of rock buried deep in the earth, each one millions of times larger than Mount Everest, and expanding, and denser than the rest of Earth's mantle. Scientists suggest that these rock masses are the missing remains of Theia, and that they interfere with the convection of molten iron, giving rise to the weak magnetic field in the South Atlantic. So regardless, the seriousness of a magnetic reversal will depend on how long the reversal takes to complete. If it slowly shifts for many thousands of years, it is possible that migratory creatures and mankind as well will be able to adapt. In the meantime, we have much to learn about what is happening deep within our planet. And that's straight from this article. That's good stuff, right? It's rare that I find an article that you could read the entire way through and you're like, well, they didn't politicize anything. Isn't that strange? Isn't that odd? Look, it's possible. It's definitely possible. But I think that's the question, right? If pole shift is a thing, we need to pay attention, and we need to make sure that if it does happen, don't let it go past the indomitable human spirit, as JR was describing. Remain positive, guys. Stick in there. Keep fighting the good fight, and don't let these doom mongers, the fear porn, all this stuff, don't let it get you down. There's so much negative stuff out there. Like we always say about the media, if it bleeds, it leads. Like Rohan was describing, that they're just trying to bombard us with so much negativity. They're trying to take us over. They're trying to get the best of us through these fear mechanisms. And oddly enough, right, it came up in the chat earlier, the Georgia Guidestones, depopulation, is this part of this? I don't know. Again, right, I'm not that answer guy. But, however, right, it's good that people are sort of thinking in terms of the interconnectedness of all of it. Like Elizabeth says in the chat, it's all interconnected also. And is that the case here? Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're talking about? And as always, you guys know the drill. So we have a third hour coming up on, of course, Rockfin, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope. And if you're listening on the Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. And we're just going to keep on doing our thing. This is the name of this show is Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we're just going to keep on trucking. We're going to keep talking about this, keep trying to be positive about these negative news cycles, and continuing to just be brave in the face of all the onslaught of the fear porn, the doom porn. It's not necessary. It's just not necessary. If it bleeds, it leads. Well, if it's pole shift, it leads here. So that's what this show's about. And as always, you guys know the drill. We'll be back tomorrow night, God willing, and we'll be talking about the green language, the language of the birds. And we'll have our good friend Austin on. He'll be on the show with us tomorrow night. And so if you're ready for that, well, you know where to find us. It's 7 p.m. Pacific, doing the same thing at the same place, all the same places you find us. That, of course, all the streaming and Fringe and everywhere else. So great stuff tonight. Thank you so much, everybody, for making this show. Like I said, I started, and I'm like, it might be sketchy. And then everybody calls in, and I'm like, wow. Home run after home run after home run. So thank you so much for that, guys. I appreciate all the enthusiasm, all the great thoughtfulness, all the fantastic calls, and let's get the heck out of here. Let's finish this, meaning that, well, like I said, if you're listening on any of the platforms other than Fringe FM, stay tuned for a third hour of Troubled Minds. If you're listening on the Fringe, stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. And as we finish, be sure, be strong, be true. And that one's for JR out there. He knows what I'm talking about. He's picking it up. Thank you for the call, JR. Thank you for being positive. Everybody else, be positive as well. Don't let the fear, the doom porn to get you. Don't let it get you. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night. You guys know the drill. We're going to take a 2-minute break, and then we're going to come back for the third hour of Troubled Minds. We're now off the Fringe, so if you've called in, you got more to add to this conversation, you're welcome. That's why we do the third hour. The radio breaks are a little bit weird. Sometimes you got to cut people off, and it is what it is. So we do a third hour off of that, so there's no interruption times. You guys can even talk to each other, have a couple callers at once, that type of thing. So no limits here, and we're going to keep on trucking, doing our thing. So we're talking about pole shift tonight. the pole shift? Is it going to be the electromagnetic field sort of situation? Do we have reason to worry? Is it going to be fast? Is it going to be slow? Is it being manipulated? Are there some interesting things happening in the atmosphere? Is this all part of the plan and the Great Reset? You tell me. We're going to keep on trucking, thinking about it, talking about it, and most importantly, we're going to keep on being positive, because that's what this is all about. So don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds, 2-minute break. Be right back. I'm going to take the dog out. Be right back. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we're talking about pole shift tonight. The actual the magnetic field of the Earth. It's shifting and it's moving. It's scientifically been proven that it's been done many times before, and it's happening now. So is it going to be a quick thing, a something that happens slow over thousands of years? What's going on right now? Is it going to affect the animals of the planet, or will we adapt? And even more frightening and most uncertain is it going to affect our technology? And because, like they've said, if it's going to be an actual sort of Carrington type event, right, with the electromagnetic field changing or weakening for a period of time, we're susceptible to solar flares and solar radiation, things like this. What's going to happen? Like I said, that's what we're going to do, and that's what we're doing. What's up? There you go. What's up? Kung City says the positivity and great content is appreciated. Thank you. Appreciate that you appreciate it. There's so many places out there that prefer we just fearmonger and tell you the end is nigh and send us your money. We ain't doing that. If you want to support the show, you're welcome to. But we're not trying to tell you about the doom mongering and fear porn and all the rest of this. The end is not nigh. I reject that notion, and I will reject that notion until the end is nigh. Well, until it's in my face. All right, so let's go to Jack in Wisconsin. Thanks for being patient with us, Jack. Welcome to the show. How you doing, my friend? Jack.
Good, Mike. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. 10-4, good buddy. Go right ahead. What's on your mind, my man?
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I wanted to ask you before I forget, because I might forget. Do you think maybe I could get wrenched up so that I can leave a link in the chat, please?
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Sure, you got it, buddy. Go right ahead. I'll do that right now.
Awesome. Hey, I wanted to bring up. Cool. I wanted to bring up. We're talking pole shifts and everything. I think people are missing like the obvious thing when you're talking about the poles. I mean, what kind of a headache is this for Santa Claus and all the workers? If the pole keeps shifting every year and all the time, does he have his whole workshop on like a big sleigh, like big sled, and he just kind of moves around as the pole shifts? Because I'm just worried about Mrs. Claus. She's probably pretty PO'd about all this. It's like she gets the house all nice and everything. It's like, oh, honey, we got to move again. It's like, you got to be kidding me. So
time to move.
I just want to say a little prayer out there for Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus and the elves out there. I mean, I know you guys, you're all having to deal with this, and it's like, us normal people out here, we love you, and we really, I don't think we have anything really to do with this. So don't blame us. We still want to get our presents and everything delivered on Christmas, and we don't want any coal or anything. Trust me, it has nothing to do with us. So we're in this together with you, Mr. Claus. So I just wanted to say my prayers and out to the Clauses and everybody out there who is having to deal with this, because it's got to be somewhat of a hardship for them, I would assume. So I just wanted to call and bring the obvious up. So.
Yeah, totally. I'm glad you pointed it out, because we probably would have missed it entirely had you not. Thoughts on any of the rest of this stuff? Do you think that it is something that's a natural cycle, or do you think this pole shift stuff is actually being manipulated? What's your thought on the rest of that stuff?
Well, I was bringing it up early in chat that, I don't consider myself to be one of those people that believes we're on a flat plane just yet. But the pole shift kind of goes against that whole theory, too. So it's like, I'm just wondering who's behind monitoring the pole shift itself and how they're doing so, because I've never really heard how you can actually gauge that, and if they're going around purposely trying to find the poles all the time, or if there's some kind of a means that they can actually tell magnetically where the pole is at a certain point. You know what I'm saying? How would you judge that unless you're right over the pole itself and seeing the magnetic anomalies? You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know how they can even tell that it's even moving. You know, so I got to do a little bit more research on it myself just to figure it out. So.
Gotcha. It's a compass
lost
thing.
There.
It's a compass thing. So the compass will tell you.
It's interesting though. I'm very.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I got.
Yeah.
you.
All I know is I heard that people can't even fly over the North Pole because it's the magnetic anomalies or whatever. But if it keeps shifting, that's got to be a hardship too on the pilots who are trying to fly, you know, over the supposed poles. Because I think the pole now supposedly is over, you know, Russia or whatever. You know, there's still probably people over there flying, and it's like, you know, if it's a real thing, if there is a pole and it's, you know, it has an anomaly where you can't judge, you know, which direction you're going, you would think like there would be some kind of problems with aircraft that you would hear about, but I don't hear about anybody going down because they couldn't figure out where the pole was or whatever. So that's kind of something too. I don't know.
Yeah, you got me. That's why we talk about.
I'd
this
like
stuff.
to hear from some pilots.
Yeah, well, so I can tell you how they know it's shifting is because it is based on the magnetic compass, and so literally if you map it to exactly where the magnetic north is supposed to be based on the magnetic field, and next year it changes by 30 miles, it's easily you can actually map that stuff, and that's what they're concerned about because like they said in that article when we first started tonight, it's changed. First it moved 10 years, like River said, it started back in 2002, and the magnetic pole moved like 10 years in a year, or 10 miles in a year, and then it moved like 30 miles, and so it's completely slipping, and it's moving off from closer to Canada off into Siberia, so it's literally moving to the other side of the earth, but how fast, I guess, is the question. So we're going to keep an eye on this because, like I said, this is a show that's long been overdue. We've never talked about it on this show, like I've said, but I think this is something we should pay attention to and kind of speculate a little bit more on because you never know what's really happening out there. But I do enjoy your sense of humor, my friend. You just for the Santa Claus story, you now have a wrench on YouTube. Thank you very much. Anything else while we got you on, Jack?
You know I love you, Mike. I love everybody here. I give hugs every time I get a chance. So, and hey, I want to bring up one thing too. There's this guy, Ben Davidson. He has a YouTube channel called Suspicious Observers, and every day he gives a weather report, and he also gives space weather reports. And he's where I get a lot of the pole shift information from. And he's talked a lot about it too, and talked about how the magnetosphere of the Earth keeps constantly shifting depending on the solar winds and, you know, the CMEs and all that kind of stuff too, and that sometimes the magnetosphere almost gets like ruptured because of all these different sun effects and stuff too. So if anybody wants to you know, get daily updates on you know, Earth weather and solar weather, I suggest going to Suspicious Observers on YouTube because he's been doing it forever, and Ben Davidson, he's up on all this stuff, so I just wanted to drop that and let you guys know about that too. So, just letting you know.
Amen, brother. I appreciate the call. You've been promoted.
Yeah.
Have a great night, my man. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great night. You too.
Thanks, man. There you go, Jack in Wisconsin. And simple as that. We're still taking your phone calls. We're talking about this magnetic field. We're talking about pole shift. What's going on with this? And again, like I said, this is not fear porn. This is not doom mongering. We do have a doom bot in the chat, but this is not about the doom here. So it's about the human spirit persevering. That's really, again, so many themes of this show, right? We have the right to be wrong. It's okay. We can get along and disagree. All that stuff, right? The human spirit is indomitable. All that, right? So many themes that are kind of running undercurrents of this show, and that's what we're about. It's not, like I said, it's not even sexy is the problem. Like it's basically common sense, but because it's common sense, like good old fashioned Hobbit common sense, as they said in those movies, it ends up becoming right, like it's boring. Like if you're not setting shit on fire and saying the world's about to end, nobody's listening to you, and that's the challenge, right? The challenge becomes exactly that. Where if everything's not like dirty clickbait and you're like, oh, by the way, right, the world is not going to end tomorrow. Ain't nobody clicking on that shit. Nobody wants to know about that. All right. Yeah, good stuff. All right. So let's see. What else do we got? Who else is in the chat? Yeah, great call. Great call, Jack. Thank you very much. Let's see. Who else do we got? Let's see. Who else is out there? Just reading the chat, hanging out. There we go. River says the shift is part of the natural Earth process. Meanwhile, those who are taking advantage of it, unfortunately, are not. Definitely. Ground control to Major Tom, says Ronald. How you doing? Robert says, I went out to my front porch to enjoy a handmade cigarette and looked up at the night sky and discovered, lo and behold, the stars are back. What in the world? What is going on with that? Cheers to the handmade cigarette. We got an old friend on the show, Kelly, whenever you're ready, my friend. We're still taking your calls, guys. 702-957-1037. We're talking about pole shift. We're talking about the electromagnetic field as it changes, as it shifts. Is there something more to this? Is it being manipulated? Is it a natural part of the Earth's cycle? What's going on here? And we've had some amazing stories tonight, some amazing theories, and topped off, well, until Kelly, of course, but topped off by the Santa Claus speculation. Poor Mrs. Claus. What's up, Kelly? Welcome to the show, my man. How are you?
What's up, man? How's it going?
I'm doing well. That's pretty good, right? That was pretty good.
Yeah. You know what? I never even thought about the Clauses, man. Those poor people.
Yeah, right? All the elves, they have to move the workshop. My goodness.
Yeah.
It's just not fair.
What's this world coming to?
Seriously.
What's going on, man?
Chilling, doing our thing, man. Hanging out, talking about amazing stuff. And again, the callers we get everybody just keeps up in the game every night. Just when I think we can't top last night's show, here we are doing it again, man. Fantastic stuff. Thanks to everybody that participates.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, this is an interesting topic. I've been actually, I've watched all the fear mongering and actual science to some of the old history that you can of the planet, not only just of civilizations, but planets, or of the planet anyway. The formation, the things that kind of surprise you about this, the pole shift. Is it literally pole shift, or is it a magnetic pole shift that they claim, that they claim that it could be that's it as well. But either one can be dangerous. I'm not saying that they couldn't be, I'm not a fearmonger or a fear pusher, but I'm always about being prepared for everything and everything. Try to be anyway, to my best ability.
Yeah, exactly. I think that, like I described, part of the reason why I've avoided this for so long. One, I don't know a ton about it, right? Because there's a lot of data. You could spend probably 3 hours just talking about the compelling data for some of this stuff, and that's not my expertise, as you know, just by listening to the show. You know that. One, it's boring, and two, it's very tedious to kind of dig into that. But the other part is it's all the end of the world type shit, like I said, you go on YouTube and just search pole shift, right? You're going to get, I'll bet you probably 8 out of 10 people are describing the end of the world, right? It's shit like that. It's like, come on, people that talk about it. I mean, it's just.
Some people kind of get confused, I believe, with the pole shift or the magnetic pole shift, because they're obviously two different things. So when they hear pole shift, they would think the whole Earth would be tilted, right? As actually the poles shifting, like the whole Earth tilting in a certain degree. Or, other people that don't know is the magnetic fields itself that's around the planet. It actually shields us from a lot of this radiation or whatnot. That can actually shift as well, which is, this is the point I wanted to kind of call about, was because you kind of have to look at them both ways. So if you do it with the pole shift, you kind of have some history with that. That's maybe we're all the Great Flood or something. Because if we're having an actual pole shift, for me, that's kind of interesting, because when I look at science, on the science side, with the actual, ancient stories of Nibiru, a planetary system or even like they said, it was like a small. It's all these. There was like 9 planets or 7 planets are rotating around a dead star, a dwarf star, right? And that would have a massive pull as well. So if it's something like that is coming around into our atmosphere or into our solar system, you can have massive planets like, and it's kind of almost the exact same thing that that if you look at, you can go, from the back all the way back, even up to like 5-10 years, right? Go through the science, some of these science fields and all these other people who were talking about some of this stuff, astrogeologists and stuff like that. But they're talking about what's interesting if you look at the planetary system right now within ours, and I've kind of talked about this a little bit, but you have all these planets heating up, right? Or they're actually even tilting somewhat, or something's pulling on our solar system. And the reason that would be, I would say, would be a planetary system, a big body like that. If they're saying even the planet X or Nibiru is 6.2 times larger than the planet Earth, or if it even dwarfs, like it rotates around a dwarf star, like I was explaining earlier. But yeah, if that's something's coming in towards, you're gonna find that, like, again, planets heating up. I mean, even our planet Earth, even for like, let's say 5-6 years ago, or even 3 up to, I don't know, probably how long you've been on, Mike, about maybe 4 years now. So you have, what was interesting to me was receding oceans, you know what I mean, off the Florida coast, or off of some of these Pacific islands, or not the Atlantic islands, right? So you have all this, and they were like receding. The whole ocean was receding for miles, right? People were walking on like the bottom of the ocean, like the ocean floor for miles. And this was just a few years ago.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
You have a planetary pool, something like that happening. That's kind of scary to think about. I mean, really, if you think about it, and if something comes back, like say all those oceans come in, like a tsunami coming in, that would be a wall of 15, maybe 20 feet greater, just smashing into the land masses. Yep. Because, the land, gradually goes up. That's where, you have tsunami effects because of the, when it comes closer to land, yeah, it's going to, get shorter. It's not just going to be, the wall goes all the way down to, the planet or the landmass, right? So, yeah, you're going to have something like that. So that's where you have like the old deluge stories of the flood, something like that. Or, and again, I try to do time frames, right? Because then you have from like science, you have the sun cycles or the sunspots and stuff. And, you can go back through time. There's other people that, scientists have back through time with civilizations, the rise and falls of civilizations, the rise and fall of people, of how many people were on the planet around the same time, what type of stuff that was happening on the planet. Like it was sick itself. These weird diseases that just kind of pop up, or, if you want to go with the magnetic field, with the animals and stuff like that, we are the animal of this planet. We also will be affected, not just, birds and oceans, people, animals in the oceans. We all have been affected with that. Is that something that have to do with it? You know what I mean? Because again, if you have a certain pull, not only the sun, the planets are going to be pulled, you would think that the star would be, kind of affected as well, in some kind of degree or another.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like you said, it's the electromagnetic, it's the radiation effect. As as it shifts, it weakens, and that's, like they said, that South Atlantic anomaly. It's affecting satellites there already, and there's some theories as to why, but they don't know exactly why. And so, if this thing keeps continuing to change and shift, all of that stuff you said, it starts to come into play, right? Yeah, I mean, and so again, we don't even know. Like it's all speculation at this point. Even even the scientists that are supposed to know it all, they don't have a clue. It's like they got some guesses like we do, but nobody knows at this point. And I think that's the thing that makes my mind troubled about it. Let's say having a troubled mind is not the same thing as fear porn. But I know you.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me too is like, you kind of look at like how the animals of the planet, you know what I mean, besides us humans, because like I said, we get affected with this stuff. Some people don't really understand it. I might understand it because someone will be even more affected because everything's again energy, vibrations, and frequencies, right? So yeah, if we're having a magnetic pole, and then now they're saying there's a lot of actual animals that live around the equator, right? They're moving away from the equator. You're getting some dead spots in the oceans. Now, the one that kind of like actually gets me thinking about that a lot too is the Paris map. The Paris map, the old one of they have like it shows Antarctica without ice, and yet they're saying like something like those ice shells would take millions of years to create. But yet here you have in the early 1500s, the Paris map shows the whole coastal line. Maybe that could happen to effect of a pole shift. We're talking either magnetic or just a regular, or not just a regular, but a planetary pole shift. I mean, how is it that they would know anything like that unless you have a dramatic change like that, like a quick ice age,
like a snap ice age? Yep.
Yeah. So if it's something snapped that fast, we're gonna have that's a global situation there. So I kind of look at too is what the governments are doing. Are they building all these bunkers? Yes, they are. They have been for years. Are they preparing for something? Who knows? They probably won't tell us. Maybe that's part of the whole Great Reset that they, and that's how they're getting rid of. That's actually kind of a fast way to get rid of billion or millions of people. Reduce it down to actually billions of people. They want to reduce it down to 500 million. If we go back to Georgia Guardstones, that whole fear monger too on that side. But you kind of have to pay attention what these people are doing, because if you don't, you're just leaving yourself out, in the dark.
Yeah, setting yourself up. It's okay. Like I agree that we have to pay attention, and that's why we do the show and talk about this stuff, because it's rare, right? Everybody's got an agenda. Everybody wants to tell you how the end is coming. I don't give a shit how it's coming. Let's pay attention and let's make it not come. That's what I'm all about,
Oh yeah. See, and that's my kind of thinking as well. I mean, when I try to put my mind into that, I of course not the negative, but again, it's always about being prepared, because they're not going to actually, why would they want to tell everybody? They don't have the facilities of underground shit like that for that many people, anyways. So you live your life as, that's what I'm saying. As a global thing, we probably don't even know what can and would, can happen to this planet. But, you know what I mean? We're just a blink of an eye anyway. So that's how I live it, is that, we might as well be happy and, move along and try to keep everything as, but still, again, preparedness is always a good thing to have. But for me, on this whole subject, it would be, that's where I go back with the Sumerian, and even what science would call Planet X, is that there is something that if this planet is coming back around, from my calculations that I have read, and I've tried to go with other science that kind of would dabble into a time frame of how many, what they call AUs, which is astronomical units, and like one unit I think is like it's like 83. It's like 83 million miles, distance from Earth. But astronomical units, when they were talking about that, one was like almost 9,000. But I'm coming more, with my calculations, more of like 500 years out. And if that's the case, you have some kind of. That's why I keep an eye on like planetary space, because you kind of want to I kind of take a look at that and how that is starting to affect. And it's kind of like almost, I like how the Night Stalker and I think the JR was talking about earlier, when, if that is happening too, because the planet is not all the way around, right? And you have these ley lines. And if this planetary is, we are getting stretched, right, by a pool or something, a planetary pool, just like everything else, these ley lines now shift, right? They roll. They're not going to be constantly the same spot or position, per se, because everything's shifting or being pulled in a direction. And maybe that's where we having these weird anomalies of like seeing different shit in the sky, portals opening up, just like he's saying. or even shit dimensional wise too, where something else is coming, or they're popping in and out, you know, kind of like what's happening over at the Skinwalker Ranch, where just like, you know, UFOs to weird, you know, anomalies that are popping in and out of these things. You never know, you know.
The Bermuda Triangle, the Alaska Triangle, there are places like that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's why I also kind of look at ancient buildings too. So, like, when they say, "Oh, it's, you know, this area," like, say, you know, like in the Middle East somewhere, where like saying, "Oh, this building was off by maybe 12 degrees or 13 degrees that were on the exact line of 33-degree parallel," right? But maybe at the time of the, you know, and a lot of people do that too with the, you know, supposed to trying to line up the star systems, you know, with the, you know, with the, you know, the Orion's belt with the pyramids and stuff, but, you know, they were off by so many degrees. Maybe that's because there was a planetary pool at one time. You know, maybe they were aligned when they had at that time. But why would the planetary pool like that? You know, and so I look at incoming bodies, something that would a planet, you know what I mean, or a couple planets that are coming around a North Star or something. For me, that makes more sense, because it's just, you know, why would the whole planet pool that like that, you know?
Yeah, and there's a lot too, like that, the celestial bodies and all the rest of this stuff. Again, you know, there are Lagrange points. There's some things that are pretty curious about, you know, where things could kind of hide, kind of sit there gravitationally free of the you know, the orbital bodies kind of pushing them around type stuff. You know, there's that Oumuamua that we talked about that could have been like a light sail, an alien civilization. There's a ton of this stuff that, even though, right, we're like, okay, we got all these telescopes, we're watching all the things in the sky, there's still, maybe we just did an article not too long ago where they're just maybe trying to like get a decent estimate of where Nibiru might be. Right? So, I mean, we're talking about elliptical orbits so huge, tens of thousands of years type thing, like that, you know, they describe Nibiru maybe being possible as a possible cause of like the Great Flood and things like this, right? And it's on this huge cycle where when it just rolls by, everything just turns upside down anyway. But that may not be the only one. It could be comets. It could be all kinds of stuff. There's a lot. Like I said, it's as always, we should keep our eyes to the sky, pay attention to all these stuff. But like I said, I'm not ready to proclaim doom just yet. I know neither are you. We're on the same team, man, and we're gonna do our best to stop whatever doom keeps coming. Hopefully, it's not beyond our doing. You know.
Yeah, I mean, some like you know, that's why I look at, you know, another thing in that perspective as well. I'm not the doom guy, right, by any means as well. I'm on the same team, but when I look at something, there's nothing. Even if it was a like a planetary thing, there's nothing you can fucking do about it. You're gonna sit there and wait until the shit happens. So that's what I'm saying. So for me, that's why I look at the more prepared state side of it as much as what we can, you know, try to help each other out. Because if something does happen, you know what I mean, you got to help your neighbor out, right? You got to fucking something, because you can't just say, hey, you know, well, screw you're on your own. You know what I mean? Can't, you know? There's no way your civilization is ever going to survive after that. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be that those types of scenarios would be very hard for civilization to. I mean, we've bounced back many, many thousands of years. Obviously, history has proved itself, but you know, we'll be all right.
We'll be all right. I agree. We're going to do our best, and we're going to be all right. The human spirit, like JR said earlier, very, very good stuff. Anything else while you got you on, my man? As you know, you're welcome to stay.
No, man, that's good. I just wanted to throw a couple things out there.
Appreciate it. You're the best. You're the best, Kelly. Tomorrow, Language of the Birds. If you never heard that one, did you hear that old show when we did that?
I have not. I have to go back and check that out.
All right, well, we're updating it tomorrow, so you don't even have to. We'll see you soon. You're the best, Kelly. Man. You're the best, my friend. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night. Thanks for the call. There you go, guys. Simple as that. You want to be part of the show. 702-957-1037. We're talking about this magnetic field flipping, all right? Again, so it's been 780,000 years approximately by science's best determination since the last time this actually happened. 780,000 years. So it's safe to say that probably modern humans never have actually experienced this particular thing. And that's why we're talking about it, right? So not only is it interesting that, we've talked about technological civilizations, the Kardashev scale, meaning that type 1 civilization has the ability to harness the power of their entire planet. The type 2 civilization has the ability to harness the actual power of an entire solar system. So there's a huge leap between a type 1 and a type 2. They estimate us we're like a 0.85 or something, 0.89 type 1 civilization. We're almost there. But you start to see if we become actually like a type 1 civilization, that means we can harness all of the power, meaning all of the from the core of the Earth, right? From we were able to manipulate and maybe even draw power from the electromagnetic fields. Who knows, right? This type of stuff, like the Tesla type stuff. This is where we're talking about, and we're coming awfully close. They say we might be, within 500 years away, if maybe that possibility happening. So this is good stuff. This is why we talk about it. And, Chris has got some concerns. Chris, I'm reading you, buddy. So he's saying that, I've been watching for years. I want you guys to take it seriously, talking about depopulation. Hey, man, it's a theme of this show as well. But the problem is, right, as you know, as I've been saying, I'm not we could do depopulation. Well, we talked about the Georgia Guidestones and that type of stuff, but that's why I want you to call. If you want to call, you want to get. This is exactly why we do it this way, in a kind of an open-ended way to kind of get ideas together and talk about things in a non-linear fashion. I got tons of stuff I can get to, but if you'd rather talk about that, give us a call, my man. Give us a call. Georgia Guidestones, depopulation, and I think you can tie that into geopolitical stuff. I think you could tie it into maybe even what's going on now. Is this pole shift part of that? Is it being manipulated to maybe rope it into that agenda? I think Jack had it right. He's tie it in and call in and give us the theory. I think that's the thing. It's you're right. You're in the right place, man. We're paying attention to this, and that's why, by the way, I talk about China from time to time. I think when that comes, I think probably they're going to be like the flag, putting it in the earth of the New World Order, right? China is going to lead that charge because they're already doing horrific stuff over there, not giving a damn about human rights and all kinds of other things. So that's why I talk about China, and I get pushed back from that, and people have called me racist and discriminating against China and all this other stuff. I just don't care. It is what it is, and that's that. Look at the data we're getting, look at the reporting we're getting that comes out of China, and that's why I bring it up, and that's why we talk about it. So, whatevs, it is what it is, and that's why we do many things on this show. So it's not the same damn thing over and over and over again. So you're welcome. You're welcome to be a part of this. We're taking your calls, everybody out there. If you're listening to me now, it is Wednesday night. We're talking about the Earth's magnetic field is flipping. It's changing. It's moving. By last measurement, it was 30 miles, a 30-mile movement from the Canada side of the North Pole over to the Siberian side of the North Pole. And, scientists are not exactly sure how long that will go and whether it will accelerate and happen very fast, or if it's gonna be like thousands of years as this thing kind of does its thing. So like I said, that's why we're talking about it, speculating here and all the rest of this stuff. I don't know. As you know, this is not the answer show. This is the question show. Let's go back to the chat, read some of this. What's up, Jack says, I like to think we have the power to change the outcome via positive thoughts and positive living. Yeah, agreed, 100%. And if we don't, like Kelly said, we're fucked anyway, right? So, you know what I mean? So you may as well have positive thoughts and positive living anyway, right? I mean, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Reading some chat. We got a call coming in from Matt. We'll take it in just a sec. Let's see. There you go. Derek says, I don't think anyone is saying there isn't a depopulation agenda. I'm definitely open to that. Agreed. Open to the conversation. Yeah. Collapsing reality will definitely lower the population, right? Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. There's been lots of theories tonight that kind of are roping in that depopulation stuff into the conversation. So for sure, Chris, you're in the right spot, man. You're in the right spot. Night Stalker also wants to know how fast does a reality collapse, right? That's the conversation tonight, unfortunately. So I don't know. What do you want us to do, Chris? Honestly, this is what I'm saying. Like petitions don't help. Calling your local or federal governments don't help, right? Those things don't help, So I don't know. What do you suggest? I'm a reasonable dude. I'm open to everybody's opinions, and as long as you're not trolling, You're welcome here. It's all good, man. It's all good. Let's see. Well, Richard says, when you see the government bods getting launched into space, you know we're screwed. Yep, exactly. There's some funny stuff going on in Rockfin, guys. Yeah, everybody's a comedian over there. You guys are hilarious. Yeah, there it is. German sausages. Okay, all right. There it is. If you guys are on Rockfin, you're missing out. Check out the Rockfin. Let's see. What else? Just reading. I'm not one to talk. I just want y'all's opinions. All right, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. It's all good. It's all good. What else do we got? Just kind of reading through the chat. Night Stalker says, Derek in Massachusetts, the conspiracy theorist in me is definitely worried about a Guidestones-style quelling virus coming just after they made us all lose trust in anyone talking about viruses. Oh, shit. The next level. The next level of the next level. They're like the Quadra Zeta Delta Delta Super Duper Plus Plus variant is on the way after you guys don't care anymore because there's been too many damn variants. What's up? James says, with all the corruption among governments and companies, I'm not sure we should get to that next level of civilization just yet, but I do think we'll get there someday. That Kardashev, yeah, the Type 1. Matt, where you at, buddy? Where you at, buddy? Matt tried to call in for a second, and there he is. He's calling back. All right, he's calling back. We'll get to Matt in just a sec. Night Stalker says, what if the elites can depopulate us via global disasters that they create but can blame on climate change or pole shifts or something? And I think that's part of it, right? Especially imagine if they can manipulate those things. If they can manipulate climate change or they can manipulate pole shifts, it does become depopulation. That's exactly what it becomes. It does become the Great Reset in the most dire and grim terms. And that's why, right? Like, I mean, I'm not willing to go there and say this is what's happening because, of course, I kind of, it's against the premise of the show. But you know what I mean? I'm not trying to go gloom and doom. I'm not trying to tell anybody the end is nigh because there's some people out there like mental health is a consideration, all this stuff, right? Like, you don't know. Some people are like right there, like all the doom porn just in the media, just constantly. Like maybe they come listen to me and I'm not, it's the last straw, again, that's why I just kind of push to the positive side here because there's just not enough people doing it. Chris says, I just saw the History Channel conspiracy theories on lower the population by 80% with all these. Yeah, you see, I can't say that because we're on YouTube and they'll shut us down if I even say those things. There you go, manipulating reality and feeding us BS. Good stuff, guys. Keep the chat coming. As always, you're welcome to call it in 702-957-1037 and we'll put you on the show. There's Daryl. Okay, so Daryl got bounced. Now I'm going to unmute her because if I didn't, she'd be globally muted forever, and that's that. You guys are missing out. Go check out all the one-liners and the great people over at Rockfin. Let's go to Matt in California. What's happening, my friend? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike. How's it going?
Doing well. Doing my thing. How about you?
Okay. Oh, good. My theory on this topic is that it's natural. It's happens slowly over time. So I think it's just happening really slowly. That it's not going to like snap one day, but it's like slowly happening, moving. The poles are moving, and I think it's just part of the Earth's, like the Earth's flow. And humans, we haven't been around like a speck, like a second in time compared to how old the Earth is. So I think that we've just been around long enough that we're just now we're noticing it over time.
Yeah, well, so I think that's what they're saying too. And part of the thing, right, is since we're talking about, 780,000 years ago, there's this situation where, for all we know, it could snap back to its proper, quote, proper point soon. You know what I mean? It may just kind of be messing around with itself. You know what I mean? As this thing's always in flux. Yeah. There's no such thing as like this thing staying static year over year over year. It's always moving, but the question is this the time it's going to move and snap where they literally reverse and you get the north and the south and the north magnetically? That's the question, right? So because it could correct on itself, like maybe 20 years from now it just kind of starts reversing back the way it came. But I don't think we have enough scientific data long term to even guess that, right? So that's why we're here kind of guessing on this. So if
exactly.
it does happen, Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go right ahead, sir.
Oh, I was gonna say I don't have an answer to your question. What would happen if it moves? If it does happen? Talking about like the technology and stuff. I have no idea. It's all a mystery because we've never been through it before. So do you have a question for me before I go on?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, so the reason I called it is the magicians, they create a circle of power. They call upon the four north, south, east, west, the four cardinal directions. They call upon the spirit of the four cardinal directions to like witness and help and aid the magic, and it like anchors their circle in the physical world. And so, doing this for so many years, one of the main tools you need is a compass. And so I've been doing this for so long, but I have the same compass for 20 years. I still use it. And I've noticed that the reason why I believe in this is because I noticed that 20 years ago, I would face, my north on my compass. And let's just say that's like 12 o'clock, right, on a clock. And now when I hold that same compass, it's more like I'm facing like 1 o'clock. So I'm saying that holding that same compass and having it point north, it's off. Like it's off a little bit. I've moved to the right a little bit.
Because it's
like
moving.
Half a step.
Because magnetic north is moving.
So,
yeah. That's a good point. So that's another way to measure it.
So it's over time.
Yeah, it's painted on the compass.
Yeah, over time.
Exactly. Yeah. So a digital compass won't tell you that because it'll always just find magnetic north and tell you this is north. However, you've got it painted on the outside of the compass where north is, but your needle no longer sits north, does it?
Yeah. So it sounds kind of weird, but
no, it's true.
I believe in it. I believe that it is moving based on that observation.
Yeah, and again, they've tracked it. Like it's a real thing. So the question is, right? Is it going to happen in huge chunks now? So it moved 30 miles this past year. Like next year, is it going to move like 500 miles? And then after that, is it going to be accelerate and move like 5,000 miles? Right? That's the question. So it is moving slowly, and it is accelerating because it was, like I said, it was 3 miles, 5 miles, 10 miles each year. Now it's 30 miles. Yeah. So that movement is accelerating in the past since, like River said, since like about 2002. It's changing. And so that's the question. Is it right? Is it kind of in that sense where it will snap? We'll see. Like you said, it's kind of unprecedented in human terms, human lifetimes. It's immeasurable. This happened so long ago that it's uncharted territory, and here we are. And that's why it's fun to think about.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
And that's exactly, I was going to say, that's why we talk about it and speculate what we, like, I don't know what could happen, but yeah, we would have to just think about it. And just talking about it is good.
Exactly. Amen to that. So do you think that, now what about the animals? Do you think, so we've talked about how it may be sharks or, those turtles that swim thousands of miles and come back and nest on the same coastline they were born in, birds navigating. Do you think that they'll be affected by this, or do you think it's kind of built into their natural state of being that they'll adjust to this type of thing?
Oh, well, that's a good question. I think, like I said, we don't know, speculating if it does like snap overnight. Who's to say if would that like wipe out like certain species of animals? That's like, I'm sorry to go doomsday, but yeah, I didn't want to go doomsday, but
you're good.
If it was like wiping out species of animals overnight because of nocturnal and all the different kinds of animals that use that power, yeah, that could be like catastrophic to the Earth in general. Like if just one species gets wiped out.
Exactly, the chain reaction type stuff.
That's one doomsday scenario.
Sure. Let's sprinkle in a little doom while we're at it. yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. As long as we don't spend 3 hours doomsaying, it's okay to mention some of the things. Yeah, it's all good. So I don't know. So are you worried, or you think this is just a natural cycle? You ain't tripping.
I think it's just a natural cycle. But like I said, I don't know the outcome. So we're kind of like, we're in for a ride, I guess they said, like uncharted territory.
Gotcha. Which we are, and 780,000 years ago is the last estimate. Let's see. Imagine this sucker flips and just wrecks all the satellites out of the sky. Oh my goodness gracious!
Yeah, that's
there's your other doomsday,
yeah. 'Cause
right?
they didn't have the last time. Yeah, the last time that it happened. If it happened, if it happens, every certain amount of years, but humans haven't been around to like witness it. Here we are with all our technology and our satellites and things, and like that in itself could go wrong too.
Exactly.
So it's another doomsday scenario.
Yeah. Again, right? Like we don't know anything, but we're just kind of throwing this stuff out there. What's up, Mr. Mensa? I see you in the chat. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead, man.
I'm gonna go. Thank you, Mike.
You're the best. Matt in California, thanks for the call. Great stuff as always. We'll talk to you soon. You too, man. You too. There you go. Easy as that, guys. You want to be part of the show? We're still taking your phone calls. We're talking about pole shift. We're talking about the magnetic field changing, shifting, moving. It's they say that every the last time it happened was 780,000 years ago. Do you think there's anything to the theories that this may be dangerous to us? Let's see. What's up? Looking at the chat, guys. How you guys doing? The jokes. Everybody's a jokester over on Rockfin, guys. I'm not going to read them to you. You got to go over there yourself. What in the world? You guys crack me up. We literally have they're not actual comedians as far as I know, but they're making me laugh. Let's see. What do we got? Good stuff here. Let's read the chat. You guys want to be part of the show? Still talking about this. 702-957-1037, and just kind of seeing what's going on here. See what's going on in the chat. I don't know, and I've got some stuff to talk about. Like I said, we could. It's a little late to get into like the Bermuda Triangle and stuff. We'll do that another time, which is fascinating as hell because I was looking into some of the stuff for the Bermuda Triangle, not just for this show, but maybe a few weeks back to kind of refresh my memory because we talked about something that kind of was on the periphery of it. And it's so crazy, like some of the stuff that's gone down over there, like actual legitimately documented stuff. And so I think that's part of the weirdness of it. That So it's a little late to get into that, but that's the type of stuff we're talking about tonight. Derek says this: the rain dances, aka rituals on the ley line grid, the original weather modification. Exactly right. Yep. Matt always bringing the heat. Agreed. What's going on, guys? Matt, this is what I wanted to say. I was looking for this comment. Well, thank you, Mr. Mensa. It says Maverick Star Reloaded channel also monitors pole shift. He said when it crosses the 40-degree parallel line, it flips automatically, and he has sensors all over the world. I've seen that channel, and it's very it's been a long time. I'm not going to comment. I'm not going to tell you my opinion. It's been a long time since I checked on it, but you're definitely right. He is all over that information. What else do we got? Who else is there? What's up? Chris says pole shift is not going to affect us, so good night, y'all. All right. Good night. Thanks for hanging out, man. Thanks for hanging out. Like I said, call in. You're welcome to call in, my man. If you want to talk about all the other stuff, you're welcome. You're welcome to. It's not, like I said, this is not the exclusive club. All you got to do is be part of this, and we're good to go. You guys still cracking me up. In the Rockfin chat. One-liner after one-liner after one-liner. All right. Good night, Chris. Thanks for hanging out. All right. What's up, Large Marge? How you doing? And let's see. There we go. All right. What's up, Andrew? I see you there in the chat. All right, let's finish this up. We're kind of at the end. Let's see. All right, here we go. We got one from Joe. Let's try this. Let's try what this thingamajigger here. Let's go to this. All right, we're gonna go to this real quick. And here's your conspiracy. Right here. This is from Joe in the Rockfin chat, and this is what it says. This is from Magzer, Magzter, Magzer.com. Pole shift evidence will not be silenced. Oops, sorry about that. Let's get that out of the way. All right, let's see. There's a lot here. There's a lot of words. Let's see. All right, let's see. Hold on. Let me find something choice. In ancient times, religious leaders made sure that evidence of ancient catastrophism was hidden away in secret. If it didn't support Christianity's once and done theme of linear progress and salvation, the Vatican either buried it, burned it, or locked it away in their inaccessible library. Oh my goodness. We're getting into the Vatican from here. I like it. In Egypt and the rest of the Middle East, Islamic authorities made sure that any evidence disputing the version of history in the Quran was similarly hidden or destroyed. But in modern times, it was the major governments that suppress unwanted evidence. The very scientists that we should be able to trust to seek the truth in an unbiased manner are biased and only report findings which please the hand that financially supports them, which is almost always from the governments. There you go. I will link this if you guys want to check it out in the chat. It's a little too long to get into the entirety of that article right now. Thank you for sharing that, Joe. And like I said, if you guys are wondering what happens to troubled minds as we were removed from platforms left and right, you will know when you go to Rockfin, and that's the only place left. The jokes keep firing. The jokes keep coming over there on Rockfin. Can you tell I want you guys on Rockfin? Get over there. I'm not even kidding. Go check out the jokes. They're legitimately funny one-liners. What's up, Andrew? How you doing? What's up, Algo? Thanks for hanging out. He says, Rockfin won't approve my... So, you hold on. I went through the same thing. I'm going to go check out your channel. I'll give you some tips and feedback on how to maybe get there. My shows 6 months ago are nothing like they are now. The quality changed video-wise and just everything. Everything changed as part of being on Fringe. Like, we upped our polish very, very huge. So I'll check out your channel. I'll give you some tips if you want some feedback. If you don't, I won't, because, well, nobody likes unsolicited feedback. So you let me know. I'd be happy to help you out. Let's see. Marge says, does Rockfin app allow audio to continue after phone is put on standby? I think so. Derek, Massachusetts, care to comment on that? I think he listens with his phone in his pocket. So I think you can put it on standby. Somebody confirm that. The Rockfin app. Anybody use it? What's going on, guys? Thanks for hanging out. Salcedo Paranormal. James says, history is written by the victors, or however that line goes. Definitely seems to be the way most large organizations work. That's absolutely true. And what's up? What's up? Did you know you can stream on Odyssey as well? No, I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that is. Okay, what's up, guys? Thank you, Penny. Actually, if anybody wants to support the show, don't join Patreon anymore. Join Rockfin. And hold on, let me get you the link. The link is right here on YouTube. Because here's why. I'll tell you why. It's like it's almost like twice as much. So because of the way they do the crypto, it's on a blockchain. Rockfin is, and so as a result of that, it ends up being instead of you spending, let's say, $5 or $10 and Patreon taking a cut of it, it's amplified. So you spend it, and actually the money that you put, they don't take a cut of it on Rockfin, but it's crypto, so it actually grows. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So let's see. I'm going to find the thing here and give you the link. And there we go. There we go. All right. Yeah, it is a bit. Richard says Rockfin's a bit awkward, but everything is new when you're starting. Yep, agreed, 100%. All right, let's see. I'm going to get this and give you guys the link. And if you want to help support the show, please do so on Rockfin. It's right there in the description. Can I find it? Let's make this full screen. We're at the end anyway. Here you go. Here's the Rockfin/creator/troubled minds right here. This is how you support the show. Let me drop this here, and you guys can see what's going on. There you go. It's in the chat, and if you want to sign up, there you go. There you go. So Derek confirms they do. So you could, you know how YouTube, you have to actually subscribe to them to make that happen. Derek confirmed you can keep it in your pocket, and it kind of goes silent, but you get to keep hearing it. So there you go. Thank you, Penny. That's the new link. If you could add that to the queue when you do that, rockfin.com/creator/troubled minds. Thank you so much, guys. All right, we got the JTRO with Jay. He just popped into the chat over here, so we'll get to Jay in just a sec. There's your link if you want to support the show. And by the way, if you want to support the show, not just you don't get our premium content in supporting the show, you get a ton of great premium content over on Rockfin. Like, once you support anybody over there, you get everybody's stuff over there. So like I said, I've been watching some of the stuff there, and there's really, really good information. Cryptos, exactly. What's up, Dark Devious? It's cryptos over there. It's on the blockchain. Rockfin's on a blockchain, dude. Okay, so let's do it. Let's get to Jay, and let's finish this sucker up. Let's do it. Let's see. Now I know how to fix the chat scroll. I will be moving to Rockfin. There it is, right? Yeah. Just turn the chat scroll off, because it did bounce around a lot, and it was kind of annoying. But yeah, now I know how to fix it. You know how to fix it. Let's do it. Let's go to the JTRO. Jay in New York. Welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
Mike, this is awesome. The last time, you hear me, Mike?
Loud and clear.
Am I there?
Loud and clear.
Sorry.
You're good.
The last campfire conspiracy theory conversation that I had was about the magnetic shift, like 2 years ago.
Nice.
You know, everybody's sitting around the campfire talking about it.
Nice.
Because we were doing orientation merit badge with the kids. And I start spelling off, well, your compass is actually going to be like 3 or 4 degrees off true magnetic north, meaning the North Pole and the navigational lines for, you know, you're teaching them orientation merit badge with the compass and the sextant and all that.
Nice.
So I quit the Boy Scouts for a long time because, you know, I had to get a job and I wasn't a boy anymore, and you can't work for $400 a week as a camp counselor only in the summertime. You get an apartment and go to school and all that. But when I had a family and stuff like that, and the youngest boy joined, it was like 7 degrees when we started teaching them again, and I was like, wow, that's quite a bit off. That's not what I remember.
So it's moving. It's actually moving.
It is. It's actually definitely moving. Another thing that I can tell you is I have my albatross of a house here, and that in the summer months you work on the driveway side because the sun never hits there because the way the house was laid out. Now it gets morning sun into like 2:00 in the afternoon, so you're not working on that side of the house until later in the day in the summertime, because I always take the same month off to work on my house because it's my birthday and that's just my plan. It's hot anyway, you know. But yeah, it's definitely moving. I mean, if you look at like those lines and the alignment of the pyramids and everything else like that somebody else was talking about earlier, I don't know, everybody was fantastic today, but they're a couple degrees off. Well, they probably weren't a couple degrees off when they met them, you know. So
you've actually witnessed it because you were actually out there teaching this, and the thing was kind of sloppy a little bit. But did you notice it was?
Well, no, I'm talking over 20 years, dude.
Right. So did you notice that it was drifting one particular way, or was it kind of maybe correcting itself, or was it just drifting?
Well, for me, I would say it'd be headed towards England, you know, from where we are up in New York State. It's there's a little trick you do with your watch to get it perfect. I don't remember the trick. It was the thing that you took an analog watch and you set it by your compass and you knew you needed to tick it that way. And then that dial on it, you spun. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever used an orientation. Like, an orientation compass has a magnet in it that will always face true north magnetically. And then the dial on that, you can change. You face the compass to true north, and then you change the dial so it's at 0. But then you tick it back a couple degrees with the trick that you do with your watch. And that way you know you're properly oriented for your longitude and latitude.
Okay, gotcha.
What true north was. Yeah, so I mean, I've noticed it. I've seen it, you know. I've seen it on buildings that I work on, you know. You're always hiding on the one side of a building with no air conditioner construction site because it's the shady part of the day there. And then, you know, go back there 10 years and stuff like that and rip out the same place you did. And it's like, well, wait a minute. It never used to be this light in here. Why is it, you know, they're tipped just a fuzz. The thing that I was saying about the Masons always building their buildings at 89.9 degrees and 90.1. It had something to do with it, but that has to do with magnetic north. I mean, I haven't gotten that far through the encyclopedia set yet, so. But yeah, it's something that I think is probably going on for ever and ever, and you know they know about it. And then the people started talking about the CERN colliders. Maybe that's a way to like stabilize it and say this is the way it's going to be because we can't have our GPS on our telephones going haywire 30 miles a year. You know.
Yeah, so it's a real thing. I mean, you know, there's the conspiracy theorists, and you know, there, like I said, a lot of that, unfortunately, is it's so doom-mongery. It's just so the end is nigh. The comet juice and all that crap. It's just like, come on, guys. Like everything doesn't have to be. I understand it gets the clicks. It gets people engaged. It gets people right because there's like that. It's like a dopamine hit. It's like the fear, right? Like people are addicted to the fear, and we can't do it, Jay. That's not why we're here, man. right? You know.
Yeah, I definitely know. And in all honesty, I don't think anything's really, going to happen. There's the tree, the fossilized tree that they found in the desert somewhere. I want to say that it's Russia, maybe. They found a tree. And the rings in the trees, it was so old that it actually experienced a change in its life of the magnetic shift. And it was huge.
And you could determine it from the rings and all the rest of that by doing the readings on its bark and everything else, right?
Right. Yeah, they were shaving off pieces of an electron microscope in it and everything. A pretty interesting article, and I probably saw that. It was probably like 5-6 years ago I saw that. But, the conversation we had with the Boy Scouts was, sitting out there after orientation merit badge looking at the stars, which is rare in New York. Just to touch on all that, because, we have a lot of air traffic here that makes it cloudy all the time. But
wink, wink.
Not to throw out all the keywords on the same day.
Wink, wink. Right. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, but no, that was a fantastic, fun ride today. With lots of things to think about. But another thing that I've noticed too is when I was back in Ohio, the geese were flying a different way. The Canadian geese migrate through there, and you kind of keep track of them because they'll annihilate a field. But anyway, the direction, we went out there and sat for a little while just to watch it. It was like, the geese are coming. I can hear them, and I look over the way that I expect them to be coming, and they were coming from quite a far piece off from there. It was like, wow. They're not flying the same way they used to. And that was one of the things that you always did about, you taught kids too, follow the Canadian geese because they're always going north-south, but now they're flying more of a northwest. Just the observation that I've made.
Exactly, right? Maybe the stars in the night sky not being as bright as they used to be.
The chance is that too. They are burning out. We're seeing them from millions and millions and millions, billions of years ago.
Yeah, there was that weird article not too long ago where the stars were actually disappearing from the sky. Remember that?
Yeah.
I
do remember. One of the things is it'd be really nice to rewind through time and focus on that star right before it disappeared to see what happened to it. Put everything you got out there.
Exactly.
Which one do you pick?
Yeah, exactly. Well, when there's so much doom porn to choose from, it's just a doom porn extravaganza. It's awful. Night Stalker has it right. Right before they try to sell you prepper stuff. Right. That's right. Sign up for Patriot something or other. Get
the Patriot food pack, 3 months worth of food.
Right.
Those are on Penny's channel.
It's good
sometimes.
For 24 years. Stuff.
You don't have any commercials on your shows, on all of your YouTube shows and anything else like that. I don't get a commercial
because I trim them out. I trim it all out.
Before you get to watch the show, if I click on Penny's show, you have to watch 3 seconds, 5 seconds of a commercial and decide whether you want to watch it or skip onto the show. And then if you watch the restreams, you have to watch them.
That's because we're demonetized, and we always have been on YouTube since month one.
Woo!
Month one. There you go. Right? Yeah. So all that will be, that whole ad-free, perfect, crispy experience will be moving over to Rockfin. So there you go. All that stuff, all that old shit on YouTube, there's not going to be full shows on there. I'll leave it up for a week, and I'm going to take them down, leave a 30-minute segment, and then put an ad that goes over, at the end of it says go watch the rest of Rockfin. Because I'm telling you, so if we can keep our archives over there and get all of our monetization over to Rockfin in the podcast feed, it might be a wrap. It might be a good game. So that's the deal. That's why I'm trying to run everybody over to Rockfin, because I'm looking at the analytics on the stuff that comes in, and since it is blockchain crypto, I know this is boring to most of you guys. It's fascinating how it ends up, people watch your stuff and you get crypto for that as well. So it's monetized not just through direct signing up for it, but then also people watching your things instead of like YouTube, kicking you AdSense money. It's actually earning you crypto as it goes. So just people just watching it. So there you go. Yeah. So anyway, that's why I keep talking about it. I'm pretty excited that it seems to be like 2x, at least 3x, maybe, just based on what people spend, because they're watching it too and all the rest of that. So just FYI, that's why I'm always talking about it. So you guys forgive me as we try and move people over there. If you want to support the show, listen on the podcast feed, listen on Rockfin. Those are the two ways to do it. And there you go. And it won't cost you a thing either way. So there you go.
I'll work on it. I got to figure out that chat thing and stuff like that, Mike.
Yeah. I figured it out. You turn off the auto scroll and you're good to go. Because it was bouncing around on you, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Well, plus there's like an ad. There's like a giant ad on the bottom thing.
Really?
Like, it goes to something different. I don't know. Do I dare bring that up while we're on the phone?
Does anybody have an ad on Rockfin? You're talking about Rockfin?
When you see it, there's like 3 or 4 different options, and you got to like actually touch the one that you want to scroll on and scroll up and down on. And if not, it'll accidentally send you to something else, and you get bumped off.
I see. Okay.
I can't get it on my iPad because it's 150 years old, and Moses gave it to me. But I can't get Rockfin on the iPad because it's too old, so I have to listen to Rockfin on the phone. If I listen to Rockfin on the phone, I can't do the Discord chat at the same time.
Gotcha. Always tech bottlenecks. They're everywhere. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
But I don't know. It sounds a lot better, and it does look a lot better when you're watching it. It really does. Like the stuff that I watched that I missed.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. I'll stop talking about it. So anything else like theory wise on the pole shift stuff before we finish up?
I don't think there's anything to really worry about as far as us being people. I think we might have to worry about having a telephone, though.
Ooh.
That's all I could really see about it happening. It's just, I don't know. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. There's nothing we can do about it anyway. I think you might be right with your theory that it's going to go 25, 30 yards one way and then like flip back and start headed back the other way. They'll do like an earth wobble. I remember talking about that when we were in science too, that the earth's axis didn't really work on a thing. It was kind of going on a thing, and maybe that followed the magnetic field. So maybe the wobble's getting a little bit bigger right now.
Gotcha. Which again, if it's out of our control, it's out of our control. That's just the way it goes.
Live life, be merry, be nice to people.
There you go.
Make friends. Have a positive attitude.
There you go.
Yeah.
Tam Bam on Rockfin says, Rockfin is seriously making me happy. Loving it. There it is. Appreciate it. There you go. Like I said, that's the way. This is the future, guys. This is the future. We talk about how to change things. This is the way to change things. Like you support. Yeah, there you go. Matt has it right. Sponsored by Rockfin and Discord. Kind of, right? Kind of.
It's funny.
It is funny. And so speaking to that, Nice Talker says, how does the Patriot thing afford to advertise on every freaking show? It's an affiliate offer. So they basically, they don't pay anything unless somebody orders using their domain. That's how. So they're not actually paying unless people order. So that's how you do it. But okay, see, I told you guys, I'm a marketing guy. I know all the ins and outs of this stuff. I've been doing this stuff for years, and yeah, so it's my other thing that I do. So anyway, so let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up, Jay. Let's roll it. You got an outro for us?
I do.
All right. All right. Let me give you some music. You need a dramatic pause. As you guys know, as we have a way to wrap this up. It's become a thing, and it's called the outro with Jay, and we like to call it the J-Tro. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you the J-Tro. Go right ahead, sir.
Thanks, Mike. The rules are simple. They lie to us. We know they're lying. They know we know they're lying, but they keep lying and we keep pretending to believe them. That was Edna Grovercroft, but the thing that made me think about that one was one of the most beautiful things we can do to help one another is kindness doesn't cost a thing. And that's Harry Berry. It's just keep spreading the good word. I mean, everybody today that called, it's the good word. And just try to keep the positive side of everything we do. And then we're going to, that'll positive energy will breed positive energy. The negative energy will breed negative energy. Pick the white wolf in your head, as the Indians might say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There are two wolves in your head. One is negative, one is positive. But Father, which one wins? And the answer is the one you feed. And here we go at the end. Thanks, Jay. You're the best. Algo digs the J-Tro. Hell yeah, I do too. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. Thanks for being here. You guys know the drill. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific. We'll be back tomorrow night, God willing, with our friend Austin to talk about the green language, the language of the birds. If you guys don't know what that is, you're in for a treat. There's some pretty awesome stuff, kind of revolving around all of that. So we'll see you tomorrow night. And again, if you want to support the show, listen to the podcast feed. It's free. If you're like, oh, I missed that show, I want to check it out, don't listen here, wherever you're listening, unless you're listening on Rockfin. Also listen to the podcast feed. Those two places, Rockfin podcast feed, Rockfin podcast feed. It doesn't cost you a dime. It supports the show. You listen to those feeds, we get a few cents here, a few cents there. You see, if we can funnel all of our traffic to two places that also support the show, and you guys don't have to pay a penny unless you want to, everybody wins. Everybody wins. Thanks, guys. As we finish, people will be in the shoot the breeze afterwards. So if you guys want to hang out in the Discord, come do that. And be sure, be strong, be true. Thanks again. Appreciate each and every one of you. Spread the word. Let people know there's a conversation out there that's not doom, it's not preaching, and your voice can be heard. And that's what this is all about. Thanks again. Appreciate all of this. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.